distributions to help out those most vulnerable, including CalFresh beneficiaries and federal employees who could face disruption in income and benefits as the federal shutdown continues. Over 200,000 people in Kern County rely on CalFresh, and starting this Saturday, November 1st, they will be without food benefits. To obtain these services, residents need to bring their EBT cards to distribution locations. Federal workers need to bring their work ID. I'm Bill Robbins in the KERN newsroom with news every half hour or when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
You think this is the Army where you shoot them a mile away? You got to get up close like this. Bada bing! You blow their brains all over your nice Ivy League suit.
It's the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Now make sure you leave the house when you make the call. You understand me? You hear me? Call from an outside line. I mean it.
Call in or text to 661-842-KERN. That's 661-842-5376. Listen live at KERNradio.com. Now, the host you've been waiting all day for. Live from the KERN studio, here's Ralph Bailey.
Hi, everybody, and a very pleasant good afternoon to you, wherever you may be, however you may be listening, or however you may be viewing. This is the show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. We're streaming live at kernradio.com. We got a really good show this afternoon. Although our two regulars are in different spots today, Daniel Petrie will not be with us today. He may be with us tomorrow to talk about the Fed rate cuts, but he's unavailable today. And Mike Turnipseed, is he motoring his way back from SAC? Is that why he's late?
Yes, he said he had a meeting in, I believe, Irvine area, but he will be back by 5 o'clock and will be able to join you.
He will join us at 5. And in the meantime, we've got a lot to do. The Trump-Xi meeting helped soybean farmers. We'll unpack that for you. And Kathy Abernathy is going to join us at the bottom of the hour. Kathy was at the Reagan Library, and it was a book signing. Brett Baer has written a book by on Teddy Roosevelt, TR, one of the greatest presidents of all time, and one of the 4 members of Mount Rushmore. We will talk with Kathy in just a couple of minutes, and I got a ton of stuff that's going on. As I mentioned, the Trump-Xi thing has lowered tariffs against the Chinese, and soybean farmers are back in business with China. And it's the 30th day of the shutdown, and there is a stunning lack of urgency given the fact that some 42 million Americans are going to go hungry this weekend when the SNAP benefits expire. Food banks are going crazy. Cap K is in full mode trying to feed folks that are getting prepared for this. They're experiencing close to 5,000 flight delays. You know what I think? I really think that all air traffic controllers should just walk off the job. Just walk off the job and put Congress in a position for a must do, because this now is getting stupid. It's been stupid. It's getting ridiculous now. It's getting absurd. I don't know. I can't come up with a stronger word. Where these rich folks, all 535 of them, the 435 in Congress, the 100 in the Senate, realize that people are going to go hungry. And they still want to hang on to their political morals, their political principles. It's just stupid on both sides that the Republicans would let the ACA tax credits expire and allow middle-class folks who are making $50,000, $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 a year see their health insurance double in just a couple of days, because we talked about open enrollment is about to begin for us and everybody else. And the fact that 42 million people, children, families, are going to go out without food stamps, that's essentially what the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program is, food stamps. And these people rely on it. And then I looked it up. I did a little research this morning. You know what they get? They get $187 a week. $187 a week to feed your family? Hell, I go through that at Uber Eats in 3 or 4 days. That's beside the point. We'll get into that as well. And I got some miscellaneous news and notes. Kudos to the kids at Del Toro High School who put on a protest today after learning that one of the Del Toro employees had sex with a student and was arrested. They were out in force. And Glamour magazine in the United Kingdom has hit an all-time low. Have you guys heard about this? Glamour magazine does a Woman of the Year every year, and their Women of the Year were 10 transgender biological men. And J.K. Rowling, the noted author, I think said it best when she said, I grew up in an era when mainstream women's magazines told girls they needed to be thinner and prettier. Now, mainstream women's magazine tells girls that men are better women than they are. And isn't that exactly what they're saying? By making 10 biological men Women of the Year? So you're telling me a man with a penis is a better woman than a woman? Am I losing my mind, or is this freaking world insane? People are going hungry. Men are being heralded as women. I'm at wit's end. I really am. But we begin with, and I probably should begin with what's going on with me, because I don't want to, my demeanor is obviously a little low. I don't want anyone to think, the only reason I asked Randy if I should talk about this, and he thought I should, because people are going to think that I'm down because the Dodgers lost, although I think the Dodgers still have a chance. Yamamoto's pitching tomorrow. We assume he's going to get a win, and then Game 7, anything could happen. But the fact of the matter is the Toronto Blue Jays are just playing better than us. And they're pitching better, they're hitting better, and our guys are doing absolutely nothing. But that has nothing to do with my down mood. Learned that my uncle recently was in a pretty bad car accident down in Beaufort, South Carolina. He passed out while he was driving. He's 79 years old and still working, which I don't understand. And passed out going through an intersection and slammed into a tree. He told me the last thing he remembered was going through the intersection, and he woke up, and a nurse fortunately witnessed the accident, and she was flashing a flashlight in his eyes, and they had to use the jaws of life to get him out of the car. And you know, and then when my mother told me this last night, all of a sudden, I was fine. I was watching the ball game. I turned the game off. It was 4-1. I said, all right, I'm done with that. And I got this going on. And about 11 o'clock, my blood pressure is out of the roof. My head is pounding. My heart's beating crazy. And I've never done this. I doubled up on my meds. I've never done that. By like 1 o'clock, I'd kind of settled down. I almost called Jeet Singh, but thank God I didn't. And I almost didn't come in today because just my head is just swirling. Just my blood pressure is going crazy. My uncle's in the hospital. And I just told him, you got to retire. He works for the state. He's got a pension. He's 79 years old. Ain't no way in the world I'm going to be working when I'm 79. Ain't no way in the world. I'll probably be living in the home that he's living in right now. But, and you know, I think the reason my blood pressure went nuts is not so much the accident, because he's fine. I mean, he's not fine, but he's not in he's not in ICU. He's got neck and back, and he's got some pain down his leg, and he hurt his ankle and things like that, but he's fine. But it just reminds you, his older brother, my dad's oldest brother, is 88 and is showing signs of dementia. My favorite uncle is 79. And he was in not great health before the accident. And my mother's 83. And I think what really kind of got to me is just the reality that 5-10 years, if I'm still here, that I'm going to be burying all three of them. And that's when I kind of lost it. And I talked to my uncle this morning, and I told him, I said, I was trying to make him laugh. And I said, well, the good news is you took my attention off the Dodger game. And he kind of laughed and said, all your boys must have lost last night. I said, yeah, we did. We're down 3-2. It doesn't look good. And we talked about that. So I got his mind off of it a little bit. But, just I always say that, I don't know, just life sucks, man. It's just such a freaking struggle, particularly when you start to get old and your family gets old. And I don't know. Let's go ahead and take a break. And when we come back, we'll talk about Judge John Brownlee has determined that Ray Mata Jr. and Graciela Bustamante will go to trial. And we got more testimony from some of the detectives who chronicled just how horrific the treatment to young Genesis Mata was, and her brother, we found out during the preliminary hearing. We'll get into that. Then, as I mentioned at the bottom of the hour, Kathy Abernathy is going to join us. We're going to talk about Teddy Roosevelt and her experience at the Reagan Library. And in the 4 o'clock hour, we've got to switch some things around. So we'll talk about the shutdown and how stupid it is. And we'll fill some miscellaneous news and notes in for the absent Daniel Petrie. And then in the 5, we're scheduled to talk to Mr. Turnseed. We hope we'll get to talk to him. And I got some other miscellaneous news and notes. Marjorie Taylor Greene is going on The View next Tuesday. Talk about that as well. You're listening to The Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. It's the JR Show.
Well, the dominoes have begun to fall. Just got word that Stan Ellis, who took over the assembly seat in the state for Vince Vaughn, will not run for re-election. About 20 minutes later, announcing David Couch for assembly. That's right, the dominoes will tumble. Now, who's going to announce to take Supervisor Couch's seat? We shall see.
The JR Show, weekdays at 2 p.m.
Hope you join us every Thursday, particularly at 4:30, when Daniel Petrie from Messmaker and Petrie Wealth Advisors joins us. Daniel gives us a weekly update on the deficit and its growth. We look at silver and gold and obviously the stock market and all kind of economic issues that most importantly impact you. But again, you guys know what Messmaker and Petrie Wealth Advisors are all about. They're all about retirement. I keep telling you guys, it's one of the smartest moves that I've ever made financially. Call Daniel, 9400-395-9400 if retirement is in your near future. Or just tune in Thursdays at 4:30 when he joins us every week. Daniel Petrie and the folks at Messmaker and Petrie Wealth Advisors.
This broadcast is for informational purposes only. Does not constitute a solicitation or offer to buy or sell any security, future, option, or other financial instrument, or to offer or provide any investment advisory or other services to any person in any jurisdiction by Daniel Petrie or MPWA Inc., DBA Messmaker and Petrie Wealth Advisors. Any views expressed in this broadcast by us are prepared based upon the information available to us at the time, and we are under no obligation to update our views.
King Door Company continues to set the standard in the garage door industry, and I'm here to tell you a few of the reasons why. First off, King Door carries Clopay garage panels and LiftMaster openers, so you're guaranteed quality and reliability well beyond the reach of most garage door companies, and it just gets better from there. King Door has a fleet of fully stocked service trucks with all the parts and tools to handle any job quickly and efficiently, and those trucks are manned by the most knowledgeable technicians anywhere. They have all the technical expertise imaginable and the most up-to-the-minute training available. In fact, King Door is so committed to training that they have the King Door Academy, a full-size, state-of-the-art classroom right on the premises with all the latest teaching aids, including working garage doors to simulate any installation, repair, or technique. Your garage door is a very important part of the safety, security, and look of your home, so don't trust it to anyone but King Door Company. Call them today at 397-2744, stop by the showroom at 7450 District Boulevard, or check them out online at kingdoor.com. King Door Company, your company with the pride of a lion.
I was always tired, sleepy, and had no energy.
I had relentless, debilitating headaches.
Valley fever has many faces and impacts people differently. If you have a lingering cough, fever, or painful breathing for more than 2 weeks, talk to your doctor.
I am Quan Louie.
I am Bryn Kerrigan.
and we are the faces of Valley Fever.
Visit currentpublichealth.com to learn more.
You've got your whole life ahead of you, so choose a Medicare plan you can count on. And that's what you get with a Medicare Advantage plan from United Healthcare. With more than 45 years' experience serving its members, United Healthcare has plans with low monthly premiums that fit your life today and as your needs change tomorrow. The Medicare annual enrollment period ends December 7th, so go to uhc.com/.
Not to add to your stress, but this just came to my thoughts right now. But have you been keeping up on your jury duty?
Yeah. I called him last night.
Okay, cool.
I got to call again tonight.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure because I just thought
Yeah.
about it right now. I was like,
Thanks.
last thing that needs to happen.
Yeah, I think they're on 40, and I'm 86. Yeah. So how long do I have to keep calling?
All week.
Are you serious?
Yeah, you got to make sure every day.
I just got called for jury duty, and I'm somehow, much to Chris's amazement, since I blew it off the first time, I'm group 86, and they're on, I think they told me they're on 40 when I called last night.
Okay, then you might be good. You may not even get called.
Yeah.
Yeah, unless it was a busy day today. But
How long do they go? So if by Friday, so
if you
Friday,
don't get by Friday, you're out. You're good.
Sweet. 60, 80. No, I'm going to get called Friday.
You think so?
Well, they've been doing it like 20, like Monday was 0 through 20.
Yeah,
no,
Tuesday was.
Oh, no. It's already
yesterday was
Thursday.
Yeah, that's Thursday. So you're
Okay. All right.
Like I said,
I
unless
could
it was
make
a
it.
busy day today, you might be okay.
Do you want to know the truth?
What's
I don't, because it would take me away from work for a long time.
But you want to be on the trial?
You know what trial I want to be on?
Oh, yeah.
Bustamante and
Well, I don't
Mata.
know if you would get picked right now, though. Because isn't that one already going?
No, the trial's set for November 10th.
Oh, no, yeah. Then you would probably get picked
They
right
haven't
now.
done jury duty yet. They just had the preliminary hearing. In
Yeah,
fact, that's
no,
what
yeah.
we're going to talk about. Judge Brownlee, a good friend of the program, who texts every now and again, determined that there's clear evidence that they're both going to go to trial. And a couple of detectives testified. This thing is so off the chart. I don't know if you could hear it in the audio, but one of the detectives broke down and cried on the stand. These are veteran police officers who've seen just about everything. And if you haven't been following this with us or on the news, during the preliminary hearing, you find out much more than you do during the initial reports, during the initial arrest. We knew when Ray Mata Jr. and Graciela Bustamante, Mata being the biological father of late Genesis, the 8-year-old who was tortured to death in a bathtub in the La Quinta Hotel. We knew some of the facts, but they really come out in court. And as we talked about yesterday, and again, if you have children in the car, that's a very sensitive issue. But we found out a couple of things that just curdle your blood. That the coroner said her wounds were so bad that she could not determine the cause of death. I mean, obviously they knew the cause of death was torture, but there were so many wounds that they couldn't determine what wound actually caused her death. And as we reported yesterday, she was sexually assaulted. They described it as acute sexual assault. And here is Stephen Glenn with the Bakersfield Police Department, who was testifying in the preliminary hearing.
We brought the boiling water in the microwave and slammed our hands in
I'm glad you edited it like that, because that long pause was the detective breaking down. And the audio was horrible, and I knew it would be because it's from television, but I wanted to play that anyway because I can tell you what he said. He was describing that they were using boiling water to torture this child and slamming I think that's what it was. They were microwaving the water and then slamming her hands in the microwave, and he couldn't even get that sentence out. And these, I mean, you guys know cops, detectives, they see everything. The only profession that sees worse are firemen who go to everything. You have a heart attack, the fire department's coming. The automobile accidents, fire department's going to be there. But these guys are veteran cops who have seen everything, and they're breaking down on how badly this young girl was tortured. And yet Lito Murillo and his assistant came on this radio show and gave the Department of Human Services and Child Protective Services an A. That's what they had the gall, the audacity to say. And this isn't the only case. And again, you have to remember that a case was opened. They examined this situation. And in some of the testimony, because, Mata and Bustamante are obviously Phi Beta Kappas, he said sarcastically, because they were texting one another on how to fend off CPS. The 11-year-old boy, we found out in the preliminary hearing, one of the text messages from Mata to Bustamante was to put a ski mask on the boy's head so they couldn't determine his injuries. And apparently it worked. Isn't that frightening? Because your initial response to that is, well, that's the dumbest thing in the world. What social worker isn't going to say, take off that mask and let me see your face? But apparently they didn't do that. Because they didn't take the child out of the home. They didn't have a follow-up. And yet Murillo and Bermudez came on this show and said, we are an A. We're 97%. But yet we're going to go down to San Diego and spend hundreds of thousands of dollars of your money to have them come in here and tell us how to deal with our children. Well, I hope that SPI comes in here and tells them, well, when there's a child wearing a ski mask, maybe you should take the ski mask off and examine his face. Because the only conclusion that I can make, and maybe it's a wrong conclusion, that they didn't do that. That this little stupid trick worked. Because again, the boy was not removed. Neither was Genesis Mata. It's incomprehensible. It really, truly is. And who in this audience thinks that this is the only situation going on like this? It is shameful. And Murillo and Bermudez should be summarily fired. They should clean house at DHS. We have failed. We have absolutely failed. And these people are the heads of the failure and can come on a radio show and say, we're perfect. We're good. We're an A. I don't give a damn about the effort. I don't give a damn about the caseload. The grand jury told them that they were understaffed and nothing was done. And now, again, we've got to go to an outside county to help us out because we can't get it done, apparently. Now I'm thinking, thank you, Jesus. Let's spend all the money we can to get somebody in here to tell these nitwits what to do. It truly is incomprehensible to me. And I know it's a difficult job. Then go sell shoes. Why'd you become a social worker? If you're going to get burned out because you've got too many cases, then go to Taco Bell. Go get in the radio business. Go do something else, but leave our children alone because you can't protect them. The most vulnerable people on the planet, and our professionals can't do a damn thing. It's ridiculous. The only good news is these two animals are facing the death penalty. And yes, all of a sudden, my opinion on the death penalty has radically changed. Because if anybody deserves to die at the hands of the state, it's these two criminals. And have you guys been watching this on 17? Have you seen the video of Bustamante in her jumpsuit laughing and giggling? Yeah, I'm mad. You damn right I'm mad. You should all be mad. That's why there were over 4,000 signatures to tell Murillo to do something. But that was just a coincidence. They were going to do something anyway. That's what he told us. No, you all made it happen. You all banged the cage. You all went down to the supervisorial board meeting and demanded something be done. Quick timeout. We're going to shift gears. Kathy Abernathy was at the Reagan Library with Brett Baer. She'll tell us all about it. Don't go anywhere.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. Ohio's Republican-led Redistricting Commission has unveiled a new U.S. House map that could give Republicans a chance to win 2 more seats in next year's elections. The move could support President Trump's effort to maintain a slim congressional majority. President Trump has appeared to suggest on social media that the U.S. resume testing nuclear weapons for the first time in 3 decades. There was no indication the U.S. would start detonating warheads, but the president offered few details about what seemed to be a significant shift in U.S. policy. A down day on Wall Street with the Dow dropping 109 points. The NASDAQ lower by 377 with the S&P 500 index lower by 68 points. More details at srnnews.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
I'm Bill Robbins. A high school employee has been arrested for allegedly having sex with a student. Bakersfield Police Special Victims Unit answered the call from Del Oro High School of an inappropriate relationship between an employee and a student. They arrested 26-year-old Salvador Fabian on multiple charges, including having an unlawful sexual relationship with a student. Officers say they don't believe there are any more victims. Fabian was booked into the Kern County Jail. A 40-year-old man shot dead in Wasco has been identified, according to the Kern County Coroner's Office. The victim is 40-year-old Hector Manuel Prado Jr. Last week, he was found dead in a field southwest of West Lerdo Highway and Wildwood Road. The cause of death reported as multiple gunshot wounds. I'm Bill Robbins in the KERN Newsroom with news every half hour or when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Attention, Medicare beneficiaries here in Kern County. If you are eligible for Medicare and looking for a doctor who listens and cares about you with minimal wait times and prompt referral authorizations, it's time you learned about QualCare IPA. QualCare IPA contracts with most Medicare Advantage health plans and provides you with access to a large network of outstanding doctors and quality hospitals right here in Kern County. Medicare Advantage health plans go beyond
And I heard it's going on all over the city.
Coverage, and understanding these coverage differences may be confusing. Call us
Oh
today,
my, are you
661-554-4544. Let us help you understand your healthcare options for 2025.
Why do they do that? Who
Call
benefits
today,
from all that?
661-554-4544.
The city somehow, financially?
661-554-4544. Get the information you need and the coverage you deserve. For accommodations of persons with special needs.
And there's no better way to spend that money?
554-4544, TTY 711.
Friday edition, Clay Travis, Buck Sexton Show. Our good friend Carol Markowitz swings by as we head into the final weekend before the New York City mayor's race. Also, Virginia.
Hell yeah,
New
those guys
Jersey.
are making
We're gonna
like
have a lot
$30
of
an
information
hour.
next
Something
week
crazy.
on what to expect from the election results. We'll take you into the
Right.
weekend talking about all that and more on Halloween. Make sure you don't miss it.
Yep.
Buddy and Buck, Friday edition.
Live 9 to noon. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. The Charlie Kirk Show. Weekdays at 6 p.m. on News Talk
I know.
96.1 and
I'm gonna go
AM
buy it.
1180 KERN. Now, back to the Ralph
To rescue
Bailey
the
Show.
American spirit, is that what it's called? Oh, I would have loved that. It's a Thursday. So I don't want the YouTubers to think it's Monday because Abernathy is live in studio. She was recently at the Ronald Reagan. Never visited. Let's start with that.
Are you kidding
I
me?
know. Son, because my ex-girlfriend Lori, her son, and I got the flu that weekend and didn't get to go. And she came back and told me about the plane, and she just went on for like literally like half an hour talking about how amazing the Ronald Reagan Library is.
I think it's at least 10 years, don't you?
Yeah,
At
because
least.
we
Oh,
broke
it's
Lori
totally-
and I broke up when I first started working here 12 years ago.
That's Ralph's calendar.
That's how who was I dating at the time? Okay, that was 1998. That's exactly how I judge my life. But yeah, so it has to have been there at least 20 years.
Yeah, I think
If
so.
not
Well,
more.
and Nancy Reagan was there, so it had to be. She's been,
When they opened it, you mean?
Well, I mean, I know she's been there at events, so she
Right.
was alive during it. So no, it's great, and you're right. There's Air Force One. They have dinners there where people can have special events and sit
In
right
the plane?
Well, they can walk through it, but you're sitting right with the plane, above you.
Wow.
So it's great. And then what I was going to, they have frequently a guest speaker who's written a book, and the charge is just $32. Lets 2 people in and a book, and you get it
Wow.
autographed.
That
Afterwards.
is ridiculously cheap.
So they just had, which I wasn't able to go a week earlier. They had Donald, the tall blonde. Is that Donald Trump? Or that's Eric
That's
Trump.
Eric.
He's just written a book, which I heard was really good.
Yeah.
So he spoke, and people did. I saw Jackie Sullivan posted that she was there. She got her picture.
I heard that Donald Trump Jr. is on the list of possible 28 candidates. Did you see that?
I think I did hear that.
I was
Well, I would say Eric myself, but Donald, because Eric, who's been involved with all the Israel business, wasn't which
Well, that's
brother? Which
that's
son?
the son-in-law.
Oh, the son-in-law. That's right. That's
Jared
right. That's
Kushner.
different.
Yeah.
Well, they keep talking about a Vance, Florida senator, Vance and our Secretary of State
Rubio. Marco Rubio.
Vance Rubio. I kind of like Rubio. Vance.
I do too.
Yeah. My only issue with Vance, he's very articulate, but too much talk all at once, like boom, 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 boom. And I want it to be a little more pensive. I don't know. That's my only problem with him. But
Did you hear what Jen Psaki said?
No.
That you didn't hear that thing about his wife?
Oh.
And how they think his wife is fearful. And on the air, she said something like, I don't know her name, the wife's name, but he said, just blink a couple of times if you need some help. What kind of people
when
are
there's
these?
real women that have real problems, this woman doesn't. What? She's Yale Law School, Yale undergrad.
Brilliant woman.
Yeah. No, those people, their theory of what a woman is or isn't is really pathetic. I did hear that.
And by the way, and I don't mean to get off the topic because we got to get to Teddy, but in that vein, did you see, and I talked about this the first half hour, Glamour magazine in Britain, they have their Women of the Year every year.
Oh, gosh.
10 transgender men were Women of the Year. And did you hear what J.K. Rowling said? Again, I got to repeat this. Sorry for those that heard it earlier, but I got to play it for Kathy.
No, that's
She
big.
said, I grew up in an era when mainstream women's magazines told girls they needed to be thinner and prettier. Now, mainstream women's magazines tell girls that men are better women than they are. That's exactly the message that they're sending, that these 10 biological men are better
are
than,
deserving of
are the
women.
best women we could find. That is frightening.
And there's actually, we think, you and I and most of your audience think that's odd, but I'm afraid there's just a lot of young women that are okay with that, because I haven't seen enough protests. I don't know who still reads Glamour. I didn't even know they still printed it.
In the Fox story, Fox said in the last 20 years, transgenderism has risen by 45% in the last 20 years. So it's not something, it's not like being gay, which I believe you're born as. This is a growing trend.
Yeah.
That's all this is.
And it's between, I don't know if it's 17 to 25. Most people have figured it out before that.
Yeah.
I'm afraid.
Yeah. And
But,
why we can't say you have to wait to be 18 to do anything to your body. Isn't that reasonable? Fine. If you want to be transgender, you want to change your body, fine. But not when you're a teenager. Your brain hasn't even developed. 7 years at 18 before your brain fully
Right. When you
develops.
figure they shouldn't be drinking a glass of wine.
Yeah, but they can change their body forever.
Right.
It's crazy.
And not with knowledge of your parents or
Yeah.
anything. That's amazing.
But let's get to why you're
Yeah.
here.
Mhm.
The book is called, don't tell me, I wrote it down. Well, tell us what the book is. Okay.
Well, you just said it, and actually,
I know.
I don't
Well, because
remember
it's in
it
my.
as well as
Well,
you,
hold on, I got it. Then
because
I
it's
wrote
a
it down.
long title.
To rescue the American spirit.
Right, there you go.
Story of Teddy Roosevelt.
Teddy Roosevelt.
One of the
And-
most fascinating presidents we've ever had.
Well, and I'm sure your listeners, like myself, now once I heard after I said I would do this, that you're a big expert on them, then you
Huge.
should be doing it yourself. But I'll say things that were, well, some things very new to me, like his personal life. I didn't know, just because I think this is important when you look at a person who becomes president of the United States, and
That his mother and his first wife died the very same night.
this was within a day. And because it was his first child, a daughter, they named her Alice, which I
After
guess
his
that was
first
their
wife.
plan, except that he would never call her that her whole life. He couldn't handle it because it was such. But I also want you to think about the fact, and he was president, that this man's just lost his wife and mother and a brand new 2-day-old baby, not a toddler, a
No,
2-year-old,
baby.
2-day-old baby. And he has all that on him.
I'm having a nervous breakdown because my uncle was in an
I
automobile
was
accident.
hearing that, and
And I can't imagine
Yeah.
having 2 family members die within a 24-hour period. I just can't. That is inconceivable.
and then that's going on, and then meanwhile his rise. I mean, how many offices did this man hold?
Secretary of
appointed
the Navy, Vice President, President, and just a really unique presidency.
police commissioner, governor of New York.
Oh, I forgot about Governor of New
Assistant
York. Yeah.
Secretary of Navy, right? And the other thing interesting about his life, because he's born in like 1865, died in 1901, is that
No, didn't die in 1901.
Excuse
That's
me.
when he became president.
Excuse me, 19.
19, I think.
Yeah, 1919. Sorry, he was 60 years old only.
Yeah.
But he lived through 3, not just assassination attempts, 3 presidents that were assassinated, one of which he was VP on, and McKinley, who was assassinated. Teddy Roosevelt only became vice president like 6 months before he was assassinated. So I think about all the.
And TR took a bullet.
Yeah, he took
a
one.
bullet in the chest. It hit his glasses that were in his pocket, so that slowed the bullet
Slowed it, so
down. It was still lodged
He
in
didn't
his
even
chest,
know it.
and he gave the speech anyway. He gave a speech after being shot in the chest with a bullet in his chest.
Right, right.
I mean, he was an amazing man.
But in that era, when you think about, we've had Kennedy, and I know there were other serious assassinations, but I mean, in terms of your president, we had Kennedy. We've had some attempts, but that had to really shake up the nation that I never thought about for that whole era in like a 25-year, 30-year span to have 3 of them assassinated. The other thing that I thought was really interesting was this idea that, he ran for president. There was no term limits then. That didn't happen until the end of FDR after he passed, which is, I should study that. How did they get term limits for president? Not until after FDR had been there 4 terms. Was that hard to pass? And I don't remember.
I don't think so.
I wonder.
Because I think the issue was he died in office. He was one of the few presidents who died in office from just old age. And
well,
they
did
witnessed.
he also have some serious polio or something?
Oh, yeah, he had polio his
I don't
whole
know whether it was
presidency.
his age so much.
No, I think it was.
Younger
I don't
than
think he-
Biden, I think. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
don't
yeah.
recall,
But that was the issue, that he died in office. And the Yalta conference, where I think most historians agree Franklin kind of gave away the store. They worried about a man being in office
very
so
weak.
long, who's so old, but yet he's still the president. You know
I
what I'm
remember
saying?
that was what, 1940.
What, when he died, when they made the legislation?
Well, the Yalta, that's
Oh,
when,
Yalta was like 44.
well, and
the end of the
media was
war.
starting to be more prevalent
Mhm.
because see, people didn't see their president walking down the street,
Yeah.
in the 1800s, like, on TV,
Yeah.
that sort of thing. So
And there's a horrible picture of him at the Yalta conference.
Doesn't he have a
He's in the
blanket
middle.
around
Yeah,
him?
he's got a shawl around him, and he's flanked by Churchill and Stalin, and they look exuberant. And Roosevelt looks like he's about to die anytime soon.
Yeah, so it's a real different era. And then another interesting thing that Brent Baer focused on too, and he does a good Trump imitation, because a lot of what Teddy Roosevelt was a lot like Trump in terms of aggressive, get it done. He just, it was all about, but be cautious, positive, which I think Trump probably goes a little bit further. But so Brent Baer, when he spoke for about an hour before for the program, but he would then say something Teddy Roosevelt said, and then he'd say Trump with a great imitation of his voice, being pretty much doing the same thing, like showing off, like he took Teddy Roosevelt took the media, whatever that was then, with him overseas to show off our naval strength. Same thing Trump would do.
Yeah,
and,
he took the media with him up San Juan Hill.
Right.
That's how well it was covered.
Right. All the what he was doing around the country too. You know, he was so involved. And some people will say, which I probably agree with, he probably nationalized a little too much, federalized a little too much land. But he certainly was into the parks and everything is great. But even more than that, he's locked up a lot of land.
Which showed up. I think that's wonderful. I think he was a great conservationist, and which was crazy because at the same time he was a crazy hunter. Have you ever seen the picture of him where he shot the rhino?
Doesn't he have his foot?
Yeah, he's got his foot on a rhinoceros, and I'm like, who shoots a rhino? He was just.
And then
he's a fascinating man. Yeah.
But he still was humble. Like when McKinley died, and he'd only been VP 6 months, and then he died. He said, "I don't know if I have the ability, but I do have the will to do this job." I mean, so he was a lot like Trump, but also a little bit more modest about what I've got to do. But just a lot of wonderful quotes. He won the first Nobel Peace Prize.
I didn't know that.
For Russia-Japan issue that he was, if I got that right.
That I did not know.
Yeah. Very first Nobel Peace Prize. And then this little bit of history that I didn't know either. But so when Teddy Roosevelt was about 7 years old, he's watching the funeral procession of Lincoln. And he's 7. And in when did Mount Rushmore go up?
That I don't know.
Yeah, I have that here somewhere. But anyway, then from that, as a 7-year-old watching the Lincoln funeral, and then 20 years later, Lincoln, Jefferson, on Mount Rushmore.
Isn't that crazy?
I mean, wow. So Teddy Roosevelt. I haven't read the whole book yet. Obviously, I just finished. We were there Tuesday night, but
the Panama Canal.
He's
his
the one
dealings with Japan.
The whole Panama Canal, that was all his idea. Take it over. And of course, Jimmy Carter's idea was to give it back because the Panamanians were getting a little upset. Well, he didn't want to show strength and do something. So anyway, he started the term muckrakers, which Trump would do too. So he did a nice Trump on that too.
And then Upton Sinclair wrote that famous book around that time. I think it was, I should remember the title, but I don't. But that really shed light on a lot of things. It really did.
And then the very most interesting thing, and I don't know if you have to go to break or if I'm supposed to leave.
No, we're going to the top, aren't we? Yeah, we're going to the top.
Was had he, he ran for president twice, and then
3 times.
Well, yeah, but that third time he blew it because he went with a third party, split the vote.
Party.
Yeah, split the vote, and he lost. And they're thinking, had he been president in 12, that he would have gotten the U.S. Navy into and Army into World War I sooner, and they think that he would have cleaned it up faster, and it wouldn't have turned into where it turned into Hitler and the whole thing because the Germans got mad at.
No, back up. You're mixing up wars.
World War I.
Yeah, Hitler wasn't involved in World War I.
No, but what they're saying, had it been that it was handled differently by a guy like Teddy Roosevelt, we would have ended the war. They felt a couple years earlier.
Oh, you're saying that World War I wouldn't have caused World War II
because the Germans would have been mad at their German military for doing such a bad job, and Hitler wouldn't have risen like he did as this hero to save you. So anyway, I want to read more about that, but that's another interesting perspective. That had he been president, would World War I have been short? They thought it would have been 2 years shorter. We would have gotten in 2 years earlier because we waited a couple of years and could have wrapped it up faster. And I think that was the main point of it. So
I was talking about that yesterday when I was alluding to your book, because his cousin Franklin Roosevelt did the very same thing. What started our discussion was the scary facts that came out of this Xi meeting. Do you know that China has making 74% of ships in the planet? 74%. And we're making 0.2%.
Our shipbuilding is really really.
It's scary, Kathy.
yeah.
74%.
And they're providing it to our enemies.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and she is up to something. He knows
Sure
what
is.
he's doing.
No, and Russia needs, that's the whole problem with everything that's going on right now is of course, Russia needs the money, their economy is in a mess. And so they got these religions, they got their oil, and that's what their people are purchasing.
Any other facts you want to share with us before I ask you about Brett Baer?
Well, there's a whole lot more, but I don't want to go into all of it.
No, feel free. You got 10 minutes.
Yeah, I love the one about, I really want to study more about, if World War I had gone differently, and I think most of us in school, they don't study a lot about World War I.
No.
I didn't. And that one movie, the movie with the horse, it was a famous movie, the horse that I just see him getting caught with the wires. I shouldn't be this ignorant. What was that movie? World War I. And I just remember the horses being trapped by wires. I just saw that scene. Anyway, sorry.
You lost me on that one.
There.
Yeah, you lost me.
But just the kind of president he was, which is quite a bit like Trump, but a little bit more tame, but very aggressive when you need to be. That was the biggest point that I got. But Brent Baer, go ahead.
Yeah. What's crazy is if he had run again, because what happened was he finished out his 8 terms after McKinley.
It was 8 years.
And then he stepped aside and let Taft get in there.
And he didn't like
And he hated Taft. So then he ran again in 12 as a Bull Moose Party and couldn't win. But if he had ran for a 3rd term consecutively, he would have absolutely won. And he's the first president ever to run for a 3rd term. And had he run originally, instead of sitting out a whole term, he would have been the first president to serve 3 terms. There's no question he would have won.
Which, by the way, I grew up thinking it was JF Kennedy, but actually Teddy Roosevelt was 42 and Kennedy was 43.
Yes, Kennedy is the youngest elected president, but Teddy was 42
at a younger age, so he was our quote youngest.
Yes,
president.
he was 42,
and I don't think I ever knew that either. So yeah.
So what was it like meeting Brett Baer? Did you get to talk to him?
Yeah, I told him I do my name dropping, Kevin McCarthy. I'm the one that he goes around. You know how Kevin says, I'm the congressman in the district that turned me down for an internship. And I said, I'm the one that turned him down. He never says, but she offered me an internship.
And other names?
Oh, Bill Thomas, I brought up. Oh, Ralph Bailey. I said, I'm on Ralph Bailey's show.
No, you did not.
I listen to Ralph online every week. He likes Mondays when I'm on, but he loves Mike Turnipseed. He's just really into your show. There. That'll give me another few more weeks.
All right, Pinocchio. Fine.
Anyway,
that's funny.
No, he's very friendly. He stands up and takes a picture with you, which I'll probably never get because this company they use never comes through.
Is he a big guy?
No, he's not. He's shorter than me. I
Is
hope
he
he's
really?
not listening. Yeah.
He's like 5'9", 5'10".
Well, I'm not 6 feet.
Oh, true.
I'm 5'8", but
so how
he's probably
about my
5'6"
height?
and a half.
5'6" and a
he's
half.
not very, you can tell that on the news. Even.
I couldn't. I thought he was a big guy.
No.
He's not 5'6".
He's thick, but he's not tall.
He's not 5'6". How tall are you?
I said I'm about 5'8", 5'7 3/4.
And he's shorter than you are?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I would have never known
that.
that.
I noticed that on TV, even before I met him. I noticed that just from when he does stand up sometimes.
And I've seen him play golf. He plays in the celebrity golf tournament up in Lake Tahoe. And I thought he was a big guy. I really did.
No, he's not big. No. But the boy, he's going around the country with this book. He spoke at the Nixon Library, and that was before he came to the Reagan Library. So
yeah, he was in Dallas with Will Kane yesterday.
Right, and he did a show, I think, from the Reagan Library. He said we didn't see that part, but
yeah.
It's you cracked me up. I'm trying to think of who else famous did I bring up when I was with him.
Not me, Jack.
Next time I'll take you because you should go to that.
I know. I do have to get down there.
Yeah.
I really, really do. Where is it again?
Reagan Library,
Simi
Simi
Valley?
So
Yeah.
you go you cut over. It's a good 2 hours. It's 2
Yeah.
hours, but you've got your show. But maybe you could do it from the car. I don't know.
Yeah. No,
So,
I can get there.
Because they always speak at 5 or 6 p.m. and then
Yeah.
the signing is an hour later after they speak. So, and he answers questions in the audience, and I knew I would like him just because I like the way he's very careful. He doesn't try to be gross and mean when you know that he disagrees with the Mondami or whatever, but he does it with a lot of, I think, facts and pulls out what he needs to. So I find him kind of like the Walter Cronkite era, where you had somebody you could trust. He seems that way to me when I watch him.
Yeah.
So
he's the best talent on Fox by far.
Yeah,
by far.
particularly of the men. Yeah, I think he's.
My two favorites are he and Martha McCallum. Those are my two favorites.
And Shannon Bream, I like.
Yeah, I like them all.
Yeah,
I like them all.
They've got a good crew. So that's.
I've even warmed up to Greg Gutfeld. I used to hate Greg Gutfeld. I really did. I used to hate him because he's kind of smarmy, and he
sometimes he's got great one-liners.
He does. He's funny because I watch him on The Five, which is a panel show, and then just for kicks, I actually watched his show.
The later one.
It's hilarious.
Yeah,
it's hilarious. They have what's the kid's name? Joe Jones, the kid that has no legs.
Oh, is it Joe Jones?
I can't remember his name.
Yeah.
He's got a real short
No, I
haircut.
know
He's
who
on
he
Fox.
is,
You know what I'm talking about? He's got no legs. So there's another regular who just had a double mastectomy.
Oh,
and,
the comedian, the blonde.
yes, I forget her name.
Yeah.
So they're on a panel, and the guy with no legs says, because she made a comment, and he says,
oh no,
she just took away all my sympathy. I get sympathy because I've got no legs, and now she comes and shows me up with cancer, and they're laughing. And then she says, well, at least now you're not the only double amputee on the show. And I'm like, are they really laughing about breast cancer and amputees? And it's hilarious.
Yeah.
And now I'm hooked on the Gutfeld show.
Yeah.
I watch it every night now.
He goes to the line, he steps over it.
Oh, he definitely. I thought that was that was jumping over it.
Yeah. And then sometimes he does it, and then he just looks at you in the audience,
and he's got the coffee cup that's shaped like doo-doo.
Oh,
have you seen that?
No,
it circles like an emoji of doo-doo.
No, I
and he
didn't
puts
see
it
that.
right in front of him when he's on The Five.
Yeah,
he's hilarious.
He's good. Well, then so is dark-haired man in the center of the panel on The Five.
Oh, Jesse Walters.
Jesse
I like him too.
Waters,
I like him too.
He is very good. Very great sense of humor.
That's a great panel with Dana Perino, Jesse Walters, and the Democrat Waters, excuse me, and the Democrat changes. Sometimes it's the kid from Tennessee.
I like
Ford.
Harold Ford.
Yeah, it's Harold Ford.
He's good.
But the women I hate. Who's the woman?
Oh gosh, she's got a gravelly voice, and she's so bad. It's not. She should do a better job for the Democrats.
I agree.
I forgot her name, but
she's
always on. And
we missed Judge Perino.
Oh,
Judge Perino used to be a regular.
Yes. She's Pirro. She's
Pirro. Excuse me.
Yeah, she's got her new job. She's been on the show once or twice, guesting just as a guest, but not sitting on a panel. But
no, she had a news conference this morning. They found the murderer of the congressional kid that got shot.
Oh, they did?
Yeah. She had a huge press conference this morning.
She's taken over that Washington court system really well, and it needs it. So she's making a lot of change. I'm glad. I know she was very tight with Trump. You know, I spent a few days with her in New York, stayed at her house and everything.
Did you really? I didn't know that.
It was after a couple months after she came out here for Lincoln Day, and we hit it off real well. Remember, she's the one that we drove her to Rite Aid, and she didn't have hairspray and makeup. So she bought, and then it was right when this whole plastic bag started, and she goes, and they said, okay, and do you want to pay 10 cents for a plastic bag? And she says to our cashier here, I just gave you $39 and you're going to charge me 10 cents for a bag, because a few minutes later, Shannon Grove comes out with all this stuff and dumps it in my lap because she wouldn't pay the 10 cents.
Damn right.
And that's when she'd heard we arrested a tractor. Remember the tractor that we arrested because it ran over a Kit Fox and had the yellow. She said, you people, I can't believe you live here. You arrest tractors and you charge somebody 10 cents for a bag. No, I had a great weekend with her. But anyway, that'll be another show sometime.
Absolutely. God, I wish I had time to ask a couple of questions about what's going on, because I think the Xi-Trump meeting went extremely well. We've got soybeans being purchased by the Chinese for the first time this year.
That's a big deal to our
Huge
ag
deal.
industry.
Huge. And the tariffs are coming down, and it looks like, that there's a decent relationship.
And I don't think the public here ever got the point. They've been doing tariffs on us. This is the first time we're doing it to them, so they're backing off.
Yeah.
That's what we want. That was his whole plan.
Yeah.
Anyway.
All right, Kathy, appreciate you coming in on your day off. That sounded like an exciting trip. Next time, little Ralph Bailey illusion wouldn't hurt, though. Just, hey, and I do this radio show. You should listen in, Brad. KernRadio.com.
That's right. You're off the air when he's on. You can listen.
Absolutely.
I will do that.
Absolutely. Kathy Abernathy. We head into the 4. Mike Turnipseed will be with us at 5, but still stand by. We've got lots to do. Don't go anywhere. Wow, that's amazing. I would have never, ever guessed that he was short. Never. Yeah.
AM 1180.
I know. That's what I thought.
This is 96.1 FM. Bakersfield. Online at
Hey, Siri. How tall is... Hey, Siri.
News this hour from Town Hall.
Hey,
I'm
Siri.
Peters in
How tall is
Washington.
Brett Baer?
As the government shutdown continues, impacts on people and organizations escalate. Vice President J.D. Vance says as the funding stalemate drags on, it raises concerns about air safety.
I worry about the people who are scanning our bags and making us get through the security line. I worry they're not getting paychecks. They're starting to worry about how to feed their families.
Fox
and
News
how to
host is
pay
5
school
foot 11
tuition and
inches
everything
tall.
else.
Well, it's
I worry about
unclear
the
exactly how
pilots
tall his
who
wife
haven't
is.
gotten paid in a
She
long
towers
time.
over
I
him,
worry
so
about
she's
the
at least 6
air
feet
traffic
tall.
controllers who, of course, make this entire system extra safe. I worry about them, more worried about their credit card
Well,
bill
this isn't.
than they should be because they're not getting a
This
paycheck
is
because
celebs,
Democrats
so that's not a real. That's not a
In
really good
Louisiana, where
source.
nearly 1 in 5 residents receive
Yeah,
SNAP
look at how his
benefits,
wife soars
lawmakers
over.
authorized $150 million
Yeah.
in state funding yesterday to help avoid Saturday's expected interruption in payments. Hurricane
'Cause I'm
Melissa
5'11".
has left behind a trail of death and destruction in the
All right, thanks for
Caribbean.
coming in. Appreciate it.
Resident coordinator in Jamaica said,
what we are seeing in preliminary assessments is a country that's been devastated to levels never seen before.
Catastrophic flooding occurred in Haiti, where dozens were dead or missing. Eastern Cuba had blown off roofs, downed power lines, and crop damage. Hurricane conditions were forecast to continue in the Bahamas into the morning and were expected to affect Bermuda later on Thursday as the storm passes. I'm Karen Shamas.
Ohio's Republican-led redistricting commission has unveiled a new U.S. House map that could give Republicans a chance to win 2 more seats in next year's elections. The move could support President Trump's effort to maintain a slim congressional majority. More on these stories at townhall.com.
The following is not an actor, but a real-life story from Trinity Debt Management.
My debt problem started probably about 2016. I needed my life to change financially. I called Trinity and I ended up joining based on high credit card bills and high interest rate. And my counselor at Trinity has been great, and Trinity has been helping me to get on the right path of paying off these credit card bills, bringing down the interest rate. They have consolidated my bills into one low monthly payment. And now I am finally getting out of credit card debt. So I just want to say thank you, Trinity, for showing me a better and greater path.
If you're in debt and you need help, call Trinity at 1-800-990-6976.
My name is Sharon, and soon I will be debt-free for keeps.
1-800-990-6976.
From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
I'm Bill Robbins. A shooting at the Walmart on Gosford Road leaves a 17-year-old boy in the hospital. At around 8:15 Wednesday night, officers answered the call in the 5000 block of Gosford Road about a shooting. Bakersfield police say the teen was shot in the Walmart parking lot and taken to the hospital with moderate injuries. He's reportedly in stable condition. No suspect information is available. BPD says that this is an ongoing investigation. A high school employee has been arrested for allegedly having sex with a student. Bakersfield Police Special Victims Unit answered the call from Del Oro High School of an inappropriate relationship between an employee and a student. They arrested 26-year-old Salvador Fabian on multiple charges, including having an unlawful sexual relationship with a student. Officers say they don't believe there are any
We're in
more
trouble.
victims. Fabian was booked into the Kern County
We're in
Jail.
trouble.
A 29-year-old man has been
They're just
arrested
better.
5 days after he
They're just
allegedly
better.
shot at a home in Bodfish with kids inside.
just better.
Kern County Sheriff's deputies
They got
were
like
called
5
to the
guys
200 block
hitting
of
over
Jones Street
340
for a
in the
report of
playoffs.
someone opening fire at an occupied home. Deputies say that the suspect deliberately shot at a woman
Yeah.
trying to kill her.
The good news is,
Suspect,
at least game
29-year-old
7 will
Michael
be all
Kenneter,
hands on
was
deck.
arrested on multiple
I was
charges,
saying
including
Yamamoto
attempted murder.
might have
Several
to pitch
weapons
2
were
days in
found
a row.
later at his home. A 40-year-old man shot dead
Yeah,
in
if we get a
Wasco has
lead,
been
like in the
identified
7th,
according to the
I'd
Kern
bring his
County
ass in.
Coroner's Office.
Got all
The victim
season
is
to
40-year-old
recoup.
Hector Manuel Prado Jr.
Yeah.
Last
Yeah.
week, he was found
So,
dead at
we'll
a
see.
field southwest of West Laredo Highway and Wildwood Road. The cause of death reported as multiple
thing's gonna be
gunshot
over
wounds.
tomorrow.
The case is being investigated as a
They're just
homicide.
better than us.
I'm Bill Robbins in the KERN newsroom with news every half hour when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
What do you think this is, the Army where you shoot them a mile away? You got to get up close like this. Bada bing, you blow their brains all over your nice side.
Yeah, they get base runners.
It's the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Now make sure you leave the house when you make the call. You understand me? You hear me? Call from an outside line. I mean it.
Call in or text to 661-842-KERN. That's 661-842-5376. Listen live at KERNradio.com.
You got both the Trumps.
Now, the host you've been waiting all day for. Live from the KERN studio, here's Ralph Bailey.
Hour 2 of the broadcast on this Thursday, the penultimate day of October, which means, of course, Halloween is tomorrow. Are you celebrating Halloween, Mr. Burdick?
I mean, celebrating in what way?
Like dressing up and doing the whole thing?
I have no plans at the moment to do that.
No parties to go to?
No, we had the party last weekend. Or like we didn't. I shouldn't say we as if I did it. I went to a party last weekend, but that's about the extent for me.
Really? Do you get trick-or-treaters at your apartment complex?
Well, actually, you know what? This is my first year at this apartment, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Let's see.
We get nothing. And we wouldn't get anything anyway, even if I wasn't sandwiched between 2 of the busiest streets in Bakersfield.
True.
Because we have a gated community, a gated complex, so they couldn't get in.
Yeah, I can't see any kids walking
But-
across those streets to get to you guys.
But even when I lived on D, when I lived south of 23rd Street on D, never got, because I lived on D Street twice. I've lived within like a half a mile, like the last 20 years. I lived in New Yorker for a while. Then I moved on to D Street in a complex I should have never left. It's an old building, just like the New Yorker. Do you know the New Yorker? If you live in the New Yorker, you don't pay PG&E.
Really?
And at this other complex that I moved to, right behind what used to be Give Me Some Sugar. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Roland Martin has a gym in that little mini mall, and there's a El Dolce Vita beauty salon. It's right there on D.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, I know.
And 18th, 19th, I can't remember. Anyway, that complex, I didn't pay PG&E either.
Oh wow.
Oh, it was great.
There's older buildings, I'm assuming.
Oh, I think that's the issue, that the buildings are so old. I think, but oh, dude, during the summer when I could leave the house with the AC on and you come back home at like 6 o'clock and you have to turn the air conditioning down because the apartment's so cold and it's 104 degrees outside. That was so cool.
That does sound nice.
But it was a weird building or apartment. That's why I moved. I didn't like it because it was essentially a studio, and it had there's a word for it. It had a rollout bed in the living room, and then you could put there was like I don't know what you call it, but a divider that you could put up that would divide essentially the kitchen and what would be your dining room from your living room. And you know me, I never put that divider up. And the rollaway bed I didn't like a whole lot. But yeah, didn't pay.
Nice.
Yeah, it was nice. It was nice. But yeah, I've never had trick-or-treaters. Never. Isn't that weird? I think is it you guys tell me, do most of you do the stuff at like the museum In fact, did I even tell you this? I saw Coach Fowler's daughter. For the people who don't know, my high school football coach moved up here long before I did from Los Angeles, and I knew he and his wife at the school, and his daughter Brenna, is now obviously a grown-ass woman. I knew her when she was like 2-3 years old, and she is in charge of the Halloween thing going on in the museum. In fact, you know what? I don't know why I didn't think of this. I'm gonna call Mrs. Fowler and try to get her daughter on tomorrow to pump it up, because the event, I think, is Friday and Saturday. And I'm also efforting an interview with Jay Tamsey. Dia de los Muertos is coming up. Their big celebration on Sunday. So we're going to try to get Jay on tomorrow. I'm sure he'll have no issue with that. In the meantime, let's check the board. What's anybody talking about?
A couple people chiming in saying it's Del Oro, not Del Toro.
Please stand by.
And they are correct. It is Del Oro.
Where are my notes?
Although I don't know if I even went to school when this high school was a thing.
Why did I not have this in my notes somewhere?
I would assume it's towards the top, because I believe you led with this.
Oh, here it is. No, it's right here. Oh, I have Del Toro. I don't know. My bad. Of gold. That makes more sense than of bull, because Toro in Spanish is bull and Oro is gold. But yeah, I was giving a shout out to those kids who had a demonstration today, because a 26-year-old employee there by the name of Salvador Fabian was arrested for having sex with a student. The authorities are saying there's no evidence that there were other students involved, but good on those students at Del Oro. You know what? I should have lied and said, y'all just misheard me. I said Oro. But good on them for doing that. What else you got?
Another one chiming in saying the movie you were thinking of was War Horse.
Oh, that the movie Kathy was talking about?
Yeah.
I've never heard of that. That's weird. I should have known that. All right, what else you got?
Ralph, Senator Graham of South Carolina is proposing that senators and congressmen not be paid if there is a government shutdown. Unfortunately, it will probably never happen because it would need an amendment to the Constitution and passage of 3/4 of Congress and 2/3 of Senate, plus 3/4 of the states.
And that's a long period. It takes years to do that, to change the Constitution. And I think if you took a vote, they would almost be shamed to vote no. I don't think the vote is the problem, is the elections that you would have to have in the 50 states. It takes years and years. We haven't done it in a while, but it takes years to change the Constitution. I did not know that was written in the Constitution. I should have known that, but that's disgraceful. And I wonder, would the founding fathers put that? That must be an amendment. And if anybody's already done the research, text us and tell us how that got in the Constitution. Because I find it hard to believe that the founding fathers thought, and I don't even know if government shutdowns were on their radar in the 18th century, but or 19th century for that matter. But that's good information, and it's unfortunate. God, aren't they scoundrels? Because I'm willing to bet they put that in the Constitution to protect themselves. And then here we are, where people are going to go hungry. People are going to go without food. We've got issues at our airports. What did we say yesterday? Hang on a second. Indianapolis, Orlando, Newark, Phoenix, Denver, Dallas, Fort Worth. They're having close to 5,000 delays. And if you've ever traveled, you know how that works. You could, if you could be waiting for a flight in Dallas to go to Atlanta. And if the flight gets delayed out of Salt Lake City, that's your plane. So now if it's late, then your departure is late. And if you have let's say you're going to Dallas to Atlanta, but you got to stop off in Charlotte. So now if you leave Dallas late, you miss your flight in Charlotte because it was taken off at 4. You were supposed to take off at 2. Instead, you took off at 3, and now you miss your plane out of Charlotte, and you're stuck in Charlotte trying to get to Atlanta or Miami or wherever you're going. It's just crazy. It's just stupid. And the fact that these guys can't just come together and say, all right, fine, let's just sign the clean CR and then deal with everything else later. But instead, they're like, you know what? Screw the American people. Screw the fact that 42 million people are going to go off SNAP, going to go off food stamps. Screw the fact that our air traffic controllers have missed their second check now. Do you know that I heard that some air traffic controllers are Uber driving? That's why I said at the top of the show, they should all just walk off, just create utter chaos to the point that they force these grown-ass men to come together and say, you know what? I hate you, you hate me, but there's a bigger picture here. We are here to serve these people, and instead of serving them, we're screwing them. We're absolutely screwing the people that we're supposed to be serving. Congress isn't even in session. And that's all about the Epstein thing. And that's the only reason later in the show I'm going to talk about Prince Andrew, who now has been completely proven to be a pariah to the royal family, which really, to me, for the first time, I haven't given a damn about the Epstein thing. I really haven't. I thought the whole thing's been ridiculous. Let it die. But if the royal family has convicted Prince Andrew because they've kicked him out of his dwellings, I forget what it's called. It's the Royal Palace, not the Royal Palace, the Royal something that he gets as a prince. They kicked him out. They kicked him out. They stripped him all of his titles. They didn't strip him before this. They just said he couldn't use it, but they didn't strip it. Now they've stripped him. So in other words, my point being is, if the family has convicted him, clearly, then how come criminal law enforcement hasn't convicted him? And if he's guilty, then there is a slew of names that are guilty that need to come forward. Now I got the tin hat on. Now I believe that the Epstein files absolutely have to be released. Absolutely have to be released. Because you know why Congress isn't in session? Because Mike Johnson, the speaker, doesn't want to swear in the Arizona congresswoman who filled her dad's position in the special election. Her dad was a longtime congressman out there and died. She took his place, won overwhelmingly, and she still hasn't been sworn in because she is the deciding vote on opening up the Epstein files. So now I'm one of those weird Republicans who thinks absolutely, it's crazy to me. I'm beginning to like Marjorie Taylor Greene. I'm beginning to like Marjorie Taylor Greene. And as I said at the top of the show, if you've ever in your life watched The View, which most of you haven't, you got to DVR it or watch it on Tuesday, because Marjorie Taylor Greene is going to be on The View with the ladies. And even they are admitting that they agree with her on some things, where she's just chastising her fellow Republicans on the shutdown, on Epstein. She is breaking away even from Trump on some of these issues. It is just so, y'all, we've got political things that we have to hold on to, and we're not going to sign this. 14 votes and nothing on the shutdown. It's beyond amazing. Let's go ahead and take a break. When we come back, we'll talk more about the president's meeting with President Xi. In fact, we got some audio from the president that you'll hear. Talk a little bit more about the shutdown. You'll hear from the CEO of United Airlines, correct? Scott Kirby is the most logical, sensible guy, the CEO of United Airlines. And I've got some other miscellaneous news and notes to get to. And at the top of the hour, 5 o'clock, allegedly, Mike Turnipseed is going to join us live in studio. In the meantime, you're listening to The Ralph Bailey Show on Newstalk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN, where we're streaming live at KernRadio.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. It's the JR Show.
So the city decides to put a gel bed task force together to find more gel beds. And who better to run the show Well, Councilman Bob Smith, that's right, Bicycle Bob needs something to hang his hat on when he runs for re-election next year because somebody's going to run against him and he's feeling the heat. And what exactly has Bicycle Bob done on his tenure as city council? Anybody?
The JR Show, weekdays at 2 p.m.
The annual enrollment period for Medicare is here. That means that it is time for you to select your Medicare plan for 2026. This annual enrollment period, choose a name you already trust. Select Kern Family Healthcare Medicare, DSNP, a new option for people who have both Medicare and Medi-Cal. For over 29 years, Kern Family Healthcare has been a trusted name in Medi-Cal. Now, we're here to support your Medicare journey too. Call 1-866-661-3767. Again, that's 1-866-661-3767. Or visit www.kernfamilyhealthcare.com/Medicare to learn more.
Hey. What's happening?
Your Medicare journey with local care you trust. Choose Kern Family Healthcare. Kern Family Healthcare Medicare is an HMO DSNP plan.
Yeah, we
with
talked about
Medicare
it on
contract
Monday.
And a contract with the California Medicaid program.
Good, isn't it
Enrollment
crazy?
in Kern Family Healthcare
Isn't it crazy?
Medicare, HMO DSNP,
How she
depends
just
on contract
ignored
renewal.
everything they said. And yeah, she's gonna win. She's gonna get like $40 million.
No one can beat us, no one can touch us. You won't find better prices. Shop and compare, we don't care.
Right.
Take a look our way and come into Carpet Outlet.
Swarmer did? Oh, really?
Oh no, Dad, I spilled juice on the carpet.
Don't worry, kiddo. We have stain-resistant carpet from
Really?
Carpet Outlet Plus.
Dad, Lucky dumped his water bowl all over the new floors.
Everything is fine. We have brand new waterproof floors from Carpet Outlet Plus. You can find everything you need for family-proof floor at Bakersfield's best flooring store. Now,
And I saw they had her
offering 1 year,
sister on
no
the
interest
stand yesterday,
financing.
and she was
Carpet
talking
Outlet
about how
Plus, 3.5
she was like
bucks
to leave
less
the
than
house,
99
blah, blah,
on
blah. But then the
Rosedale
defense,
Highway.
the prosecution jumped in and said, well, we understand you went to a Taylor Swift concert. And she said, well, yeah, but that was problematic.
Must
We had to,
qualify for
like,
enrollment. Results may vary.
Attention! Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce
Yeah.
a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you had
I
bad
should've been
credit.
all the shows I
National
watched
Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card
Good,
debt for
yeah.
more than 550,000 consumers.
Yeah.
So don't wait.
Wow, I
If
didn't
you
know
owe
she took the stand
10,
and
20, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt
I
relief
bet.
as the cost of living
Yeah.
continues to skyrocket.
you imagine
To check what debt
facing
reduction you
somebody
may qualify
shooting you
for, call
and her hand is gonna be to save their life
800-399-7272.
'cause the bullet went through her hand before it hit her chest.
800-399-7272. Again, that's 800-399-7272.
Trans-Siberian Orchestra, live in concert, presenting the Ghosts of Christmas Eve, the best of TSO and more. November 25th, Dignity Health Arena. Tickets on sale now at AXS.com. The Clay Travis and Buck Sexton Show, live 9 to noon. Now back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1.
In terms of flight delays, where they were going someplace else and the plane that was on was late and they missed their flight. And it's just so incredibly stupid. It's so incredibly stupid. They could extend the SNAP food stamps. They could extend the ACA tax extensions. It's just ridiculous. Here is Scott Kirby. He is the president, CEO of United Airlines, who was at the White House. And this is one of the most logical, down-to-earth answers I've ever heard.
It's been 30 days, and while I don't have a position on which partisan side and how things should be settled with healthcare, it has been 30 days. I also think it is time to pass a clean CR, use that as the opportunity to get into room behind closed doors and negotiate hard on the real and substantive issues that the American people want our politicians on both sides of the aisle to solve. But let's get a clean CR and get that negotiation done behind closed doors without the pressure, without putting the American workers and the American economy at risk.
Why can't a legislator say something like that? Why can't John Thune, the majority leader in the Senate, and Chuck Schumer, the minority leader, say that very same thing? Hey, we're hurting people. We've got to put our political principles aside, sign the CR, and then have Thune say, and I guarantee you, I promise you, or have the president come in and say, we will give you honest, sincere negotiations on the extension of the ACA tax credits, because this doesn't help the Republicans. It really doesn't. I understand what they're trying to hold on to, and that is breaking precedent with the idea that you can hold up the government by shoving in some things that you want in a continuing resolution. And then if the other side doesn't like the amendments or the caveats that you put in, then they shut down the government. You hold on to your principles, and that's what's going on right now. And it's just the stupidest. That's why there's a part of me that says they can't possibly be this stupid. They've got a day, November 1st. That SNAP money wears out. And then there's a story in the New York Times today where, I'm sorry, I've got to criticize the president, where they have an opportunity to spend money that's allocated to them that could at least give some money to SNAP. I'm reading from the New York Times. Entering the hearing, top officials in the Trump administration had acknowledged that they had billions of dollars left over across multiple federal accounts, including money in an emergency reserve specifically for SNAP. The amounts appeared to be total more than would be needed to cover the full cost of providing food stamps if the shutdown continued through November. But the Trump administration says we're not doing it, because then that gives the Democrats something. Well, it also gives 42 million Americans food. And they're holding on to this thing. Well, if we do this, then the Democrats win. And it's insane. It went before a judge. And the judge is like, I don't understand why you're not using this money. So there are multiple culprits in this thing on both sides of the aisle. It's not strictly a Democratic thing. I know you don't want to hear that, but that's the reality. Why they're not using this money to fund SNAP, I don't understand. And in Newark, they actually grounded planes in Newark because of the shutdown and the lack of air traffic controllers. Like I said, they should all walk and put this country in chaos and lay that right on the doors of the Congress and the Senate. This is beyond dumb. It's beyond absurd. It's, again, I don't have a word. Absurd, insane, just self-inflicted wounds on the American people when you are supposed to be working for us, and instead you're screwing us, and they just don't give a damn. They go home to their big Bethesda, Maryland, Chevy Chase, Silver Spring, Maryland homes, and there are people that can't even feed themselves because these two idiotic sides can't get together. And it just makes me become cringe Jean-Pierre and just say, I can't be a part of any of these parties. I am going to become an independent. But I tried that. And it doesn't work. It's just, it is so incredibly frustrating. It really, truly is. I just no words. Text message before we get to the bottom.
Let's see. Most of these are pretty long, so let me see if I can get one out here. Hello, Ralph. A lot of my Hispanic relatives and I voted Republican, but now we are done with the Republican Party. The country under Trump is so divided. What advice can you give my family to stay positive?
I don't know. You just heard my speech. I don't know. I'm sick of both of them. I don't have the words to tell you because I'm trying to figure out my damn self. I hate the Republicans and I hate the Democrats. I hate one more than the other, but I hate them both. This is ridiculous. These are grown-ass men who know people are going to suffer, and they just don't give a damn. I wish I could give you some advice, but I'm as perplexed as you are. You can't go to the independent party because that is an actual party, and you have to vote for that candidate. I guess the refuse to state is our best shot. But, David Valadao told me that the reason that he's against continuing the ACA tax extensions is because there are rich people that are getting some of these extensions. People making $500,000-$600,000. Well, we got to forget about that right now. Because again, open enrollment is about to begin, and millions of Americans are going to lose health care. They're going to see, I take 5 pills a day. I know what it would be like if all of a sudden my medication shot up. I couldn't afford it. Quick time out. Mike Turnipseed at the top of the hour.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
WSN News. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says China has agreed to purchase 25 million metric tons of U.S. soybeans annually as part of an agreement reached by its leaders. He said Thursday that China will start by purchasing 12 million metric tons of soybeans from the U.S. between now and Saturday. On Fox Business Network, the secretary said the agreement lasts for 3 years. Israel's military says Palestinian militants have handed over remains of 2 additional hostages to the Red Cross in Gaza. That raises the number of hostage remains returned to 17 since the ceasefire began, with 11 more set to be handed over under the agreement. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 109 points, the Nasdaq dropped 377. More details at srnnews.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
I'm Bill Robbins. An area south of Delano is under a shelter-in-place order due to an ammonia leak around the Titan cold storage facility. Exposure can cause severe burns to the eye, skin, and respiratory tract. Symptoms include trouble breathing, coughing, and severe eye and throat irritation. Anyone within a half-mile radius of Titan cold storage is urged to go inside your home, shut doors, and lock your windows, and stay until further notice or if you're contacted by emergency personnel. Voters in Delano will have to decide whether to keep an existing sales tax or vote it down. Measure B would extend the 1% sales tax, which is scheduled to sunset on March 31st, 2028. I'm Bill Robbins in the KERN Newsroom with news every half hour when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Attention, Medicare beneficiaries here in Kern County. If you are eligible for Medicare and looking for a doctor who listens and cares about you with minimal wait times and prompt referral authorizations, it's time you learned about QualCare IPA. QualCare IPA contracts with most Medicare Advantage health plans and provides you with access to a large network of outstanding doctors and quality hospitals right here in Kern County. Medicare Advantage health plans go beyond original Medicare benefits coverage, and understanding these coverage differences may be confusing. Call us today at 661-554-4544 and let us help you understand your healthcare options for 2025. Call today, 661-554-4544. That's 661-554-4544. Get the information you need and the coverage you deserve. For accommodations of persons with special needs at meetings, call 661-554-4544, TTY 711.
Friday edition, Clay Travis, Buck Sexton Show. Our good friend Carol Markowitz swings by as we head into the final weekend before the New York City mayor's race. Also, Virginia, New Jersey. We're going to have a lot of information next week on what to expect from the election results. We'll take you into the weekend talking about all that and more on Halloween. Make sure you don't miss it. Clay and Buck, Friday edition.
Live 9 to noon. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
You're listening to The Ralph Bailey Show. Catch me weekday morning 6 to 9 a.m. on First Look with Scott Cox, News Talk 96.1.
And Kathy Abernathy checking in. Hold on. She probably came up with FDR died at 63. Wow. Well, that was relatively old in the 40s. I hope that that's young in the 21st century, although it's not. It's just so. 842-5376, 842-KERN, our big story of the day. Ray Mata Jr. and Graciela Bustamante will go to trial. Judge John Brownlee determined there was overwhelming evidence to take it to trial. We played one of the detectives earlier who broke down. That's how bad the abuse was to Genesis Mata, the 8-year-old, who the coroner said her wounds were so bad they couldn't determine which one was the fatal blow. But here is Attorney Wilder, who is part of the defense team on this, talking about just some of the text messages and the behavior of Bustamante and Mata.
He places himself and defendant Bustamante places herself in that room together, burning, abusing, whipping, smashing fingers, with all of that behavior is done.
Where these two idiots were exchanging text messages about what they were doing. And there was another text message. The audio was too bad, so I didn't ask Chris to get it, but where she describes Bustamante sending a text basically saying that we whoop her, quote, we whoop her every day. Every day. And again, let's all remember that the people at DHS came on this radio show and said, we grade ourselves an A. And there was a child living in our community that was getting whooped on a daily basis. And yet DHS went in and investigated it. And this child is getting whooped every day, and somehow they couldn't determine it. And as I said at the top of the show, there was another text message or communication between Bustamante and Mata, where apparently CPS was coming to visit. And Mata told Bustamante to put a mask over his face to hide the abuse. And as stupid as that sounds, apparently it worked. That's the amazing thing. That's how efficient our Child Protective Services is. That these two numbskulls can fool our social workers. And of course, Genesis Mata was left in their hands to the point where they tortured her so badly that a coroner couldn't determine what was the fatal blow. There's just some things I just don't understand. And I guess never will. And how this happens in our community, I just don't understand. And you know what? If I were the head of DHS and this happened on my watch, I would resign. I would resign. I swear to God, I'd resign. But these guys are happy with their hundreds of thousands of dollars salary, and they go home to their wonderful homes and their beautiful families, and they sleep like babies. They sleep like babies. Despite the fact that I got to go buy this damn hotel every day I go to work. And every day I look out the right-hand side of the mirror and I see that big La Quinta sign. And I think of that girl on the second floor of that hotel in a tub with wounds so tragic that a physician couldn't even tell you how she died. And she was acutely sexually assaulted. I described it yesterday. I ain't gonna do it again. But I think you could figure it out. How she was sexually abused all over her body. It just makes you want to cry. And then I didn't even know about the 11-year-old boy. It's just such a waste. It's just such a stupid waste. It's just mind-boggling to me. Again, if you're wondering why Mr. Petrie isn't with us today, he's got something going on. He may be with us tomorrow. I asked him if he could, because as most of you know, the Fed rate was cut by 1/4 of a point. And another one is expected to come up in perhaps in December, but I'll let Mr. Petrie tomorrow or maybe next week kind of walk us through that, because there's some questions about that. You know, what's this going to do to the labor market? And in fact, he sent me some notes that he suggested that I perhaps bring up. And Mr. Petrie said, Fed lowered rates as expected. Powell hinted at rate cutting December is not guaranteed, but market is pricing it in. Debt increases as expected, and gold has been volatile, but likely resuming bull run. So good time to vote, invest in gold, apparently. 842-5376, 842-KER. Let's take a couple text messages, get to the break, and then we'll get back to the president's visit in Asia.
Let's see. The private sector is ran way better than the government. This wouldn't be happening if the government was ran like them.
It's true. It's very true. And it just gives you, you know, it just perpetuates people's absolute loss of faith in government. Whether it's local government and the Department of Human Services who can't protect our children, whether it's the 435 people we go to represent our different communities, or the 100 senators that we send to represent our states. It's like, what's the point? And I'm almost getting so bleary-eyed that I'm almost understanding why young people don't vote. I'm beginning to understand it. What's the point? I mean, even the good people aren't doing good. You know, I got to disagree with Mr. Valadeo. I think for the very first time since I've known him. I don't give a damn if rich people are benefiting from the ACA tax credits. What I do know for a fact is that poor people, or even middle-class people that are making decent money, $50,000 to $80,000, are going to see their meds cost. Because let me show you something. I just picked up my meds today for the people that are, can you see this? Here, let me, hang on a second. Hang on a second. Stand by. Don't, everybody just relax.
Slightly moved.
Okay. Let me show you what I have to do to stay alive. Look at that. That's what I got to do every day. These two I take 3 times a day. These two I take once a day. Now, can you imagine if I'm on ACA tax credits and all of a sudden this, which cost me $75 right here, cost me $75. What if it goes up to $150, $200? I'm screwed. I'm dead. Well, I could probably afford it, but what if I was making $40,000? I couldn't afford this. This is insane. People's lives are at stake. Food, SNAP, medical care, and these guys just don't give a damn. They just don't give a damn. It's all about winning and losing and leadership and moving up and beating this guy and beating that guy, when it should be about, let's work for the American people. Let's make living cheaper. Why do you think Zoran Mamdani is about to win going away? And we'll talk about that after the break. Because Teresa Goldner and her bet with me is in trouble because now a recent poll has come out. I'll share that with you in a second. But why do you think he resonates? A 33-year-old man who nobody's even heard of, has never really had a decent job, certainly not in government. Why do you think he's resonating? Because he's promising to bring down the cost of things. Where a 27-year-old biology teacher in Brooklyn can't live in Brooklyn. And if he's living in Brooklyn, he's living in a studio, he's got a family, he's living probably in New Jersey, driving an hour and a half, 2 hours just to get to a school in Brooklyn. That's why Mamdani is resonating, and that's why Mamdani is going to win going away. Quick timeout. We'll check the board, and I will share with you. We don't have Mamdani audio. I don't know why I thought that. You know. Anyway, you're listening to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1, AM 1180, KERN. We're streaming live at KernRadio.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180, KERN.
Friday's Armstrong and Getty show will, of course, be our annual Halloween spooktacular.
This is scary and a story that's getting not nearly enough attention. Several leaders, prominent universities came out this week and said that they believe the anti-Israel and anti-Semitic demonstrations that broke out on campuses across the country were not organic. They were sponsored by Iran. On the next Armstrong and Getty show.
Weekdays noon to 2 on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180, KERN.
Must qualify for enrollment. Results may vary.
Attention! Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments?
You got the
With
Jake
credit card
Tapper
debt
thing
reaching
too?
all-time highs.
Sweet,
National
thank you.
Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers. So don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-399-7272. 800-399-7272. Again, that's 800-399-7272.
You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at VaxAssist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Help elevate your company's pride with workplace tips from Cintas. The right workwear helps your team look and perform their best. Cintas has work apparel for almost any job imaginable. Your team gets garments that are breathable, comfortable, and hold up to any job. Cintas even handles laundry and delivery every week with no upfront investment. It's all part of Apparel Plus from Cintas. Learn more at Cintas.com.
Welcome to the magic of Christmas at Santa's Christmas Shop and explore 26 beautiful themed Christmas trees. Each tree is created with their own sparkling story, from classic reds and golds to shimmering coastal blues, from nutcracker elegance to the bright, sweet world of Candyland. At Santa's Christmas Shop, you'll find every unique ornament, ribbon, and accessories to make your home shine bright this season. Line up the toy soldiers, light the holiday scented candles, deck your mantle with deer and garland, and don't forget the elves. Whether you're decorating your very first tree or your 26th, it all begins in one magical place, Santa's Christmas Shop, bringing the wonder and warmth of the holidays home. Visit Santa's Christmas Shop inside patio spaces where Christmas truly comes to life and every tree tells a story. 6801 White Lane. That's 6801 White Lane.
You've got your whole life ahead of you, so choose a Medicare plan you can count on. And that's what you get with a Medicare Advantage plan from United Healthcare. With more than 45 years' experience serving its members, United Healthcare has plans with low monthly premiums that fit your life today and as your needs change tomorrow. The Medicare annual enrollment period ends December 7th, so go to uhc.com/Medicare today. United Healthcare Medicare plans. It's Medicare coverage California can count on.
I'm JR Flores. Catch my show, The JR Show, weekdays at 2 p.m. Now, back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
You'll never find, no matter where you search, someone that cares about you the way I feel. One last take on the government shutdown. This was Jake Tapper showing a rare bipartisan movement. He was talking with Congressman Melanie Stansberry. Listen to this tete-a-tete.
Should the Democratic senators from New Mexico, your home state, vote to open the government so that these
SNAP funds are not at risk?
Let me be clear. The administration is choosing to starve American children with money that they already have appropriated.
I'm not applauding
this
their.
is
I'm
a
not applauding
choice
their
by
tactics.
the White House.
Well,
this is a choice by the White House.
This
They
is
are
also,
choosing
Congresswoman,
to
this
cut
is
off
also a
food
choice
assistance.
by Senate Democrats
No,
to not
it is
vote
not.
to open the government. Yes, it is.
The
I understand
Senate-
why they're doing it. They're doing it because they want Medicaid funds restored. They're doing it because they want Obamacare premiums to be extended past the end of the year. I understand the reasoning.
So let me just be clear. The money for contingency plans is sitting there. That is why the states are suing. The White House is withholding funds from
2 to 3
children
weeks worth
to
of
have
SNAP funds.
food.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it may not be a big deal to you, but let me
It is
tell
a
you
big
that
deal to
for
me.
the grandparents, for
It is a big
grandparents
deal
that
to me.
literally are feeding their children,
My point
to
is that
not
it's a
have
short-term
money
solution.
in those accounts.
It's
It
a
doesn't
short-term.
matter. At the end of the day, people need to be able to feed their families, and Saturday is when those funds
If you
run
feel
out,
so
and we are
strongly,
fighting
Congresswoman,
to get
why
that
not ask
funding.
the Senate Democrats from New Mexico to vote to open the government?
Do you see why I have no answer for the person that said they're sick of the party? Because they're both at fault. She's absolutely right. I mentioned that at the top of the show, and I read from the New York Times that there is emergency money available. The Trump administration is arguing before a judge that they can't release that money when they can. They just don't want to because that, to them, is a victory for the Democrats. And the Democrats are holding out, as Jake Tapper pointed out. You could easily end this. Both sides could easily end this. But both sides are entrenched on winning politically. Again, not giving a good rat's behind about the ramifications to our air safety and just our air traffic. The idea that millions of Americans, and guess what time it is? Oh, that's right, it's holiday time. Now, I doubt very, very seriously that this thing is going to linger on for another couple of weeks and delve into Thanksgiving. But imagine if it does. Would you feel safe flying around? Would you even want to go see your relatives, knowing that you're probably going to miss a flight because there are going to be delays? We're right now in the very beginning of this thing, and they're experiencing 4,500 to 5,000 delays. Again, as I said earlier, in Newark, they're downing planes. That's a horrible phrase to use when you use planes, but downing meaning they're not letting them take off because they don't have the air traffic controllers to control the traffic. It's just about as dumb a thing, literally, that I've ever seen in government, where both sides could end this right now, this very minute. Either one of the sides, the Republicans or the Democrats, could end this right now. Mike Johnson could say, all right, fine, let's extend the Obama tax credits. And the Democratic senators, 5 or 6 of them, could say, okay, let's sign the clean CR and we'll deal with the tax credits later. And one of the rare times that I'm the optimistic guy, it's not even that I'm optimistic. I just think they can't possibly be this stupid to allow this to linger. And some speculation is that the Democrats are waiting for the Tuesday election. They're waiting to see what's going to happen in New York. They're waiting to see what's going to happen in New Jersey, where there's a bitter gubernatorial fight. They're waiting to see what's going to happen in Virginia, where there's a bitter attorney general fight. That guy that I told you about, Jay Jones, who said the horrible things about the speaker, wanted to put a bullet in his head and wanting to kill his children and have them die in the arms of his wife so she can understand empathy. He's plummeting like a rock, but it's not having the impact on the gubernatorial race in the Commonwealth of Virginia that I thought it would, where Winston Sears is battling Abigail Spanberger. Spanberger somehow is holding on, despite a horrendous debate that we aired some of the audio from, where they asked her, are you going to repudiate and not endorse Jay Jones, a man who talked about children dying in their babies' arms? And she gave one of those Corinne Jean-Pierre answers. Oh, and I have that audio that I sent you too. I don't know if we're going to have time for that because that was really long, wasn't it? How long? Did you count it out?
I didn't, but it's a couple minutes long.
There is some incredible audio, and I didn't even send you the other one. There is some incredible audio of Karine Jean-Pierre being questioned by the Oversight Committee. She showed up with her attorney, and we got time, but it's so long. It is.
Well, I got to hold on. I got to send it to myself and everything still too.
Yeah, well, don't worry about it. Maybe we'll do it tomorrow when we got a little more time. It's mind-blowing testimony. And she just keeps giving the stock answers where they even played, and it's unfortunate that you can't hear it, and I'm not sure if it's on the audio that I sent you or the audio that I have, but they even played, and this is the first time I'd heard this, the interview with Robert Hur. Remember that? Remember the prosecutor who was involved with the documents? And I swear, this is how the answer went. They asked in this interview with her, remember this? When Hur came out and said, I can't prosecute this guy. He's a doddering old man with a really bad memory, and I just can't prosecute him. And Kamala Harris and Karine Jean-Pierre and just about every other Democrat completely attacked her, said it was completely politically motivated. Well, I recently found out Hur couldn't get a job for 3 or 4 months. He was a pariah inside the Beltway, an absolute pariah, because they had accused him of being politically bent and trying to sabotage Joe Biden. When we now know, and this is the first time I'd heard the interview, but others have heard it, and others have seen the transcripts, and we come to find out Robert Hur was Joe Biden's best friend. Because if Robert Hur had told the blunt truth, this guy has lost it, they would have still attacked him, but the whole Biden disintegration would have happened earlier. Where Chris asked, this is how the questioning go. I'm not kidding. This is how the questioning went. Ask me about the future of the Oakland Raiders.
Ralph, what do you think the future of the Oakland Raiders are?
Well, that's an interesting question. You know, we used to have Raider tickets. My dad got them. You know, my dad was born in Beaufort, South Carolina, and he went to this tiny school called Robert Smalls. And then, you know, he was going to go to the University of South Carolina, but they said he wasn't Ralph Bailey. And then when they found out he was black, they wouldn't accept him. And he went back to Beaufort and then went to Morehouse College and was in the Navy. And I swear to God, in fact, I don't even know why I'm doing that. Just ask me, what did you do with the documents?
What did you do with the documents, Ralph?
Well, the documents were in the garage, and that's a garage where I kept my Corvette. And, you know, we've accomplished so much in my administration, voting rights. And I mean, he's just rambling. And it's a 12-minute ramble. And one of the questions that they asked Karine Jean-Pierre is, do you really think a man that had his total faculties, A, couldn't answer a simple question like, what did you do with the documents? And B, would he ramble for, does it take 12 minutes to answer that question? Then our attorney jumped in and said, I don't know what this has to do with anything, and boop, 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 boop. And you've got to see the video. Go YouTube this. Go YouTube Karine Jean-Pierre and the Oversight Committee. Because while she's listening to her video or audio, her body, so she's just like, I mean, you can tell she's like, oh my God. And it's as if it's the first time she's heard it. And I find that hard to believe, but her body language is just like, she's just a nervous wreck. And then yet, and still, when they finally get through that and they ask her, does it really take 12 minutes to answer a simple question like, where are the documents? She still goes, all I can tell you is that in the days that I saw him, he was sharp. I mean, she's still hanging on to this ridiculous idea that they didn't know a year and a half. And she's trying to parse words by saying, I was concerned about him running, right? So then the logical question, which was posed to her, well, if you thought it was too much for him to run, isn't it harder to be the president than to run for president? It may be more taxing physically, but mentally, it's much harder to run the free world than it is to try to be the president, if you ask me. Final hour of the broadcast. Mike Turnipseed joins us next.
This is AM 1180 KERN Green Acres. This is 96.1 FM Bakersfield. Online at KERNradio.com.
Yes.
News this hour from Town Hall. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. Several Republicans backed a Senate resolution to undo President Trump's tariffs.
On this vote, the yeas are 51, the nays are 47. The joint resolution is passed.
The resolution, however, is unlikely to become law. Even if it did pass in the House, Trump would most likely veto it. While the Senate vote is largely symbolic, it is also the latest note of displeasure over Trump's trade tactics, exposing fault lines in the Republican Party as high prices weigh heavily for their constituents. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
The nation's food banks are preparing for a surge of hungry people if federal assistance is cut off this weekend. White House correspondent Craig Clugston has the story.
States are scrambling to figure out what to do if federal food assistance comes to a halt on Saturday because of the government shutdown. Food banks and pantries that were already struggling after federal program cuts this year are now bracing for a wave of new people needing help. The Trump administration says it won't use a roughly $5 billion contingency fund to keep food aid flowing, and that it won't reimburse states that temporarily cover the costs. Greg Clugston, Washington.
The Trump administration is restricting the number of refugees admitted annually to the United States to 7,500, and they'll be mostly white South Africans. It's a dramatic drop after the U.S. previously allowed in hundreds of thousands of people fleeing war and persecution from around the world. The administration published the news in a notice on the Federal Register on Thursday. No reason was given for the numbers. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 109 points, the Nasdaq dropping 377, with the S&P 500 lower by 68. More at townhall.com.
The following is not an actor, but a real-life story from Trinity Debt Management.
Every day I speak with people who are worried and are feeling a lot of pressure because of credit card debt. That's why I'm very proud of what we do at Trinity. We just help. We give people the support they need, along with a real plan to become debt-free. Credit card bills are consolidated into a single monthly payment that is much less than what they were paying before. Most of our members end up saving thousands and even may improve their credit scores by as much as 200 points. I know from the bottom of my heart that I'm making a difference in the lives of the people we help. It just makes me really happy.
If credit card debt has you down, call Trinity at 1-800-990-6976.
My name is Julie, and I'm a Trinity counselor. Call me and become debt-free for keeps.
1-800-990-6976.
From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local
we get a
news
lead.
update on News Talk 96.1
Hell, if we get a lead,
and AM 1180 KERN.
What we need is to get a blowout.
I'm Bill Robbins. A
So you
shooting
can
at the
yank
Walmart
out
on
the ball.
Gosford Road leaves a 17-year-old boy in the hospital.
Yeah.
At around
And you
8:15
pull your
Wednesday
motor
night,
early,
officers answered the
because
call
if
in the
we get a
5,000
lead at
block
like
of Gosford
7,
Road about a shooting. Bakersfield
Yamamoto
police say the
last
team was
night
shot in the Walmart parking lot and taken to the hospital with moderate injuries. He's reportedly in stable condition. No suspect information is available.
And then remember,
BPD
because I was
says that
about
this
to
is an
argue, because everybody
ongoing
was saying he pitched so
investigation.
badly.
A high school employee has been arrested for allegedly having
Everybody was
sex
saying
with a
he pitched so
student.
badly, but I
Bakersfield
was like, he
Police
left
Special
2-1,
Victims Unit answered the
but
call
then I
from
realized
Del
he
Oro
left
High
with,
School
like,
of an inappropriate
bases on
relationship
first and
between an
third.
employee and a student. They arrested
Okay,
26-year-old
it's not
Salvador
over.
Fabian on multiple
You got it
charges,
before.
including having an
You're all right.
unlawful sexual relationship with a student. Officers say they don't believe there are any more victims. Fabian was booked into the Kern County Jail. A 29-year-old man has been arrested 5 days after he allegedly shot at a home in Bodfish with kids inside. Kern County Sheriff's deputies were called to the 200 block of Jones Street for a report of someone opening fire at an occupied home. Deputies say that the suspect deliberately shot at a woman trying to kill her. Suspect, 29-year-old Michael Kemeter, was arrested on multiple charges, including attempted murder. Several weapons were found later at his home. A 40-year-old man shot dead in Wasco has been identified, according to the Kern County Coroner's Office. The victim is 40-year-old Hector Manuel Prado Jr. Last week, he was found dead in a field southwest of West Lerdo Highway and Wildwood Road. The cause of death reported as multiple gunshot wounds. The case is being investigated as a homicide. I'm Bill Robbins in the KERN newsroom with news every half hour when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
What do you think? This is the Army where you shoot them a mile away? You got to get up close like this. Bada bing! You blow their brains all over your nice Ivy League suit.
It's the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Now make sure you get that out when you make the call. You understand me? You hear me? Call from an outside line. I mean it.
Call in or text to 661-842-KERN. That's 661-842-5376. Listen live at KERNradio.com. Now, the host you've been waiting all day for. Live from the KERN studio, here's Ralph Bailey.
Final hour of the broadcast on this Thursday, penultimate day in October, Halloween Eve. It's the Ralph Bailey Show. News Talk 96.1. We're streaming live at KernRadio.com. Still lots to do in the final hour. We will rehash some of the stories that we've talked about. We'll talk more about Salvador Fabian, the Del Oro employee caught having sex with a student. And add some other miscellaneous news and notes to get to as well. Recap our top story on Ray Mata Jr. and Graciela Bustamante, who Judge Brownlee determined will go to trial. And they are facing the death penalty if found guilty on first-degree murder and torture and mayhem, etc., etc., etc. But in the meantime, look who's here. Looking cleaner than a Safeway chicken, sharper than the Board of Health, Mike Turnipseed.
Yeah, you got me with a tie on today, Ralph.
First time I've ever seen it. Literally. No, I've been events with you. That's not true. I've been to big events.
You know, when you go down to Orange County, people dress a little different than here.
And why were you in OC?
I went down to participate in a business economic forecast of what's coming in for the next year by the Orange County Business Council. They do 4 events a year on different topics, and I wanted to see what all the effects of tariffs and big bag bill and all those things are going to be having on California and where their projections are about how we're going to handle it.
And what do you have to report? Why do I get the idea this isn't going to be good?
Well, Ralph, when you look at where California is and what's going on many fronts, they're not good. They're in decline.
Yeah.
People are leaving, populations leaving, birth rates down, and you're looking at how Texas and Florida are actually increasing pretty substantially in similar categories. So,
and it's only going to get worse because I think in a couple of weeks after Mamdani gets elected, more folks are going to be headed to Florida. Don't you think?
From
more?
California?
No, New Yorkers.
Probably. If Mamdani would. I understand the margin's getting kind of close.
No, it's changed. It got down to 10, went from 20 to 10 last week. But a poll, and I meant to talk about this, a poll in, where am I? I can't find it on my rundown. It's so diluted. But it's jumped. Oh, wait, it's on the second page. I don't know where I put it. But it's jumped. He's got like a 16-point lead in one and a 24-point lead in the other.
Well, you get what you pay for.
Yeah. I got a bet with Teresa Goldner. I gave her 5 points.
You gave her 5
points? I gave her 5 points, and I'm going to win. And I'm kind of happy about that, Mike.
So what's the number?
What do you mean?
You gave her 5 points.
In other words, if he wins by 3, she wins.
Oh.
Because I think he's going to win by at least 10, 12, maybe 15 points.
But you gave her 5 points.
But I gave her 5.
That's generous of you.
I thought so. Very confident.
How many runs are you giving on tomorrow night's game?
0. 0. 0-0-0. All I want is a W. That's all I want.
Get on your knees, Ralph.
I think we have a good chance.
You know how to say a rosary. You better say one or two between now and tomorrow night.
I think we still have a good chance. I really do. Like I keep trying to remind people who've been blowing me up last night, but I had my phone off. We were down 2-1 in a 5-game series and won both. And you got to think that we're going to win tomorrow. Max Scherzer, we hit him pretty good. And he's an old man. And the best pitcher in baseball, I think, is going. And then game 7, it's all hands on deck. And I think I was just telling Chris, if we can limit Yamamoto's numbers tomorrow, like get a big lead and take him out in like the 7th, not have him to go 9, you might see Yamamoto go 2 days in a row. I think if we have
like Baumgartner did.
That's right. If we have a lead,
he had 5 innings of shutout ball. I have to come back after pitching like a 7 or 8 innings in the game. He had like 1 day.
That's the winning scenario for us. That's the winning scenario because I don't trust anybody coming out of that bullpen. I just don't. And if I see Blake Trinan one more time, Mike, I don't know what to do.
Are you ready to change colors if he comes in the game?
No, not quite yet. I'm willing to go shoot the
Jump off the bridge, California Avenue Bridge here.
No, I'm going to go down to LA and shoot the porch light out at Dave Roberts' house. But I'm not willing.
Somebody better not shoot out the light or you're in deep trouble now.
I know. I'd be the first guy, but
you'll be the first guy.
Yeah. But let's get back to California.
Let's get back to Bakersfield because an interesting thing happened. At the city council meeting last week, they spent about 3.5 hours talking about money, and the first hour was spent about the budget already. They came back and had a first quarter budget review.
Yeah.
Which is, in my 20 years of watching budgets, it's the first time I've ever seen a first quarter. That's when they're realigning their budget projections and usually it's mid-year. Usually at the end of January, you do tweak a few things, but doing it in the first quarter. And
why is that?
Because they had to make some cuts. They had to make some changes. Their projections weren't what they thought they were going to be, and so they're trying to figure out. They knew this year's going to be bad. It's just how bad. And what's happening in sales tax revenues and projections, even if you're not meeting it, they reacted quickly. They're gonna doing what they have to do, but the situation is going to be interesting.
We are in deep trouble, not only in Bakersfield, but in California and in the country. This stupid shutdown, just everything is just, I have no faith anymore, Mike. I was saying earlier in the show, for the first time in my life, I'm beginning to understand why young people don't want to vote. What's the point? What's the point? We elect these city council members, they get reelected without even being challenged. Without even being challenged. No one questions their job. They know they get that position. They probably won't run against somebody or they'll run against some unnamed person so they'll win automatically. And nothing changes. Nothing changes. In fact, if anything changes, it gets worse. Am I wrong about that?
It does. And there's going to be some open seats. And I think there's going to be some competitive races in the city council next year.
Like?
Well, when Andre moves on, there's going to be a competitive piece there.
Open seat, yeah.
I don't know if Ken Weir is going to make it. He's missed so many meetings now, whether he's just not going to resign or whatever, but I'm sure he's not running again.
I met the gentleman, Casey Steakhouse, who ran against him. I can't remember his name. The guy with the big white mustache. You know what I'm talking about?
No, but
big tall guy, white mustache. No,
I don't remember.
Yeah,
but maybe Miss Cassie will step up. She's a planning commissioner. She knows what's going on, and she would be a good council person.
And see, that was what I was just about to say. All the good people, the Michael Bowers, the Cassie Biddle, they don't have anything to do with this nonsense. And they could be the weapon of change.
They could be. And I already know there's 2 people running against Bob Smith.
Thank you, Jesus. Are they decent? Who are they? Do we know?
One's an attorney in town, Alex Dominguez. He works for Mrs. Goldner's firm.
Okay, all right.
He's a water attorney,
okay,
young water attorney. And there's another young guy around town named Seth Hewitt.
What's his story?
27, 28-year-old getting his master's degree in public administration from USC and wants to be a city councilman.
All right.
We'll see.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
thinks
That,
he's
that
just
scares me a little bit.
It'll be interesting. I said, well, you better start walking then.
Yeah.
Because the only way you win without spending a lot of money is knocking on everybody's door and shaking everybody's hand 2 to 3 times.
Damn right. I've told you the
That's
story.
that's what Councilman Hanson used to do. He'd start walking like 6 months ahead, and he'd get the high propensity voter list, and he'd go to every house, a high propensity voter, like 3 times, and give them a little door hanger and shake the hand. And
I've told the story, and one of the biggest upsets that I've seen since I've been here, when Michael Rubio ran against Pete Parra, and I went on the radio and said, there's no way this young kid's going to beat Pete Parra. And then Nicole Parra's father, by the way, who used to be with Employment Training Resources, then became a politician, great guy. I saw him about 8 months ago at Casey's Steakhouse, as a matter of fact. And I was living on D Street, and Rubio came to my house twice. Twice. He came to my front door and shook my hand. And I'll never forget, he gave me a pot holder that his mother had made that said, vote for Michael Rubio. And I swear, the second time he came to my house, I was like, damn, he's going to win. He's going to win. And he did. He did.
That's what it takes. If you don't have money, you got to have shoe leather.
Yeah. Never saw Pete. I love Pete, but I never saw Pete at my front door. And Rubio came to my front door twice.
The high propensity voter.
Yeah. And that's what Abernathy used to say. That's what Mark Abernathy used to say. I asked Mark before he passed away, how do you pick your candidates? And he used Gene Fuller as an example. He said, you know how I pick my people? I pick the people that help me work before they want to be a politician, the people that will walk and put signs on doors. And Gene was one of those people, even though she was, superintendent of schools at the time?
At Bakersfield City.
She was
that
and she was pounding the pavement. He made her a candidate, and she's one of my absolute favorite politicians.
She got along with everybody.
Absolutely.
She would not understand the environment today.
No, I don't think she could exist in the environment today, where you got to be cutthroat and all this nonsense.
But she was quite charming, and
yes,
I used to watch the Senate Energy Committee, and she would ask for an amendment, and whether it was Padilla or there were several prominent old-time Dems on. Oh, we can do that.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want?
Yeah.
Senator Fuller? Well, she almost got whatever she wanted because she was so nice and charming.
Mm-hmm. One of my favorite honor flight moments is I kind of wandered away from the group. We were at the Capitol, and I just kind of wandered away. It was one of my first trips. And, even when I would go to D.C. when I was young, he didn't get into the government stuff. So I was, like wide-eyed. And I'm like, that looks like Gene Fuller. That is Gene Fuller. And we sat and we talked. She was there for some hearings or something. And we sat and talked for about 5 or 10 minutes. It was great.
Very
Just
nice
a
lady.
really nice woman. And I used to try to wave at her. She's still home. I don't know if they still live there, but they lived off Rio Bravo Country Club.
Yeah.
Off like that par 5, that par 5. I think it's hole number
I haven't
1,
been on that golf course in
2.
20 years.
It's the 3rd hole.
But
I don't know why I'm telling you where Gene Fuller lives, but
yeah, you shouldn't be doing that.
yeah,
Ralph.
no, I shouldn't.
But then the other final thing was they were talked about sewer rates, and they changed some of the scenarios. And what really scares me when you look at doing a long-term, because you're looking at 30 and 50-year investments.
Yeah.
And they're looking at a 7-year window. And 7 years, really, you it's like buying a house.
Yeah.
You buy a house, it's going to be there for a while.
Right.
And you don't do a 7-year mortgage.
No.
You do a 30-year mortgage.
Right.
Because that is what it is. You pay your interest, pay your principal. And so if interest for the city can go out and borrow money at 4%, and cost increases due to inflation for construction are 8 to 10% every year you wait, doesn't it make sense to borrow the money and do that because it's cheaper? And the fact that any additional breakdowns you have or falling apart issues you got to repair and maintenance just gets more expensive over time. And so I am going to have a meeting with Mr. Clegg, and we're going to talk about long-term financing. And we've been working for school districts since 2007 on how to structure debt efficiently and effectively and make sense to improve your financial outcomes.
I know this is a ridiculous question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Why are these people so stupid? They're obviously educated. I always talk about this. You can be educated and you can have an IQ and you can still be stupid. Why are these people so stupid? Why are these people so ineffective? Why are they so illogical?
The city of Bakersfield has always bragged about how cheap they are.
Great.
You know, we have the lowest rates. We do this. We're the most efficient and effective. No, you're not the most efficient and effective. You just spend the least amount of money, which means you're not maintaining. You have to maintain facilities. You have to put some money into them.
Preach, Mike.
And I am preaching to them. And so when the voters have to look at city council next year, who's going to take care of the infrastructure and do it in a prudent, cost-effective manner, so you're not going to be faced with these massive 300% rate increases because the council was more concerned about, we want to be cheap.
That is one of the brightest rants you've ever made on this broadcast. And by the way, that's a cultural thing. That's what black folks do in church. When the preacher gets rolling, they scream, preach.
Preach.
You don't have to stop and recognize it. That means I'm encouraging you to keep going.
And so the basic idea is that you have to have a financial plan. And for 40 years, for 40 years, Bakersfield is always just, they live on what they get. They didn't borrow any money. If they couldn't fix something, they put baling wire and duct tape instead of repairing it correctly. And we got more potholes in our roads, but somehow now they have money for green paint.
Yeah. And paving streets that really don't need to be paved.
That's
all over the city.
And now that's coming home to roost because they really don't have a plan. You know,
how is that possible?
I don't know, because there are other cities. I was reading a magazine.
You should run. Why don't you run?
I live in the county.
Oh, damn.
Somebody said, "You gonna move?" I said, "I'm not moving. I'm 72 years old. I had to move all my furniture."
Yeah, no
It's
kidding.
not going to happen. But
and you live in a beautiful neighborhood, so why the hell would you move?
I'm very happy with where we are.
Yeah,
we have a nice house. Thank you. And the fact is that the city has to understand that you have to maintain equipment. I'm sure in their equipment yard, the people who are in all the loaders and all that machinery that does stuff maintains it better than they take with the sewer plants and everything else, because they ride it, they work it every day. They don't want to be breaking down fixing it, so you fix it right, so you're not. But the rest of the city has been allowed to just fall into a state of disrepair. And so voters, when you vote next year, it's your investment.
Yeah.
This is your city. You have a real opportunity to say who's going to manage our assets properly. Just like if you've got investments, who's managing your assets? Who's taking care of them? You should take the same care in voting for a city councilman that you do as when you pick your financial advisor or your doctor or your cardiologist or your pulmonologist.
Damn right.
The person you take and check with your life. You need to think about that when you vote for city council.
Yeah. And we have an opportunity to put 3 new council members on the council.
Yes, we do.
And we really should take advantage of that. We really, really should. And I'm a Ken Weir fan, but it might be time for some new blood.
He's missed probably 8 or 9 of the last 10 meetings. So.
Yeah. Is he still health issues?
That's what I understand.
Yeah, that's too bad. He's a good guy. But yeah, we need new blood. We really do.
So there's somebody out there who can read a financial statement, understand how money works, how you run a company, and you got to protect your assets. Because if you don't take care of your assets, pretty soon buildings start just collapsing and roof tiles start falling on people's heads.
Yeah.
So
what's going on in my building? What's going on in my building? My complex is like 80 years old, and I had my roof collapse in my living room because my upstairs guy's bathroom was right there. And I have water all over my living room. I was telling Chris about my bathroom where the tiles are starting to move and there are cracks in the wall, and yeah, it's about to get funky. It's about to get
About
funky.
to get funky, so you need to talk to your landlord.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate you making the effort. Hope you didn't get a speeding ticket coming here.
No, the traffic was pretty bad. Instead of getting there, it says in a normal day, you make it in 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
It took like 3 hours and 45 minutes.
Are you serious?
Getting there and coming home.
Was it just bumper to bumper?
A lot of it.
Like where?
All over. In fact, Waze took me clear out around Pasadena to the 210 and back around the back way, and it was still 3 hours and 45 minutes.
Wow.
A lot of traffic today.
It's crazy.
But I got here.
We appreciate it. We really do.
Thanks,
Mike
Al.
Turnham seat, everybody. Quick timeout. Not a lot of time before we get to the bottom of the hour. Don't go anywhere.
That was great. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
I was always tired, sleepy, and had no energy.
I had relentless, debilitating headaches.
Valley fever has many faces and impacts people differently. If you have a lingering cough, fever, or painful breathing for more than 2 weeks, talk to your doctor.
I am Quan Louie,
I am Bryn Kerrigan.
and we are the faces of Valley Fever.
Visit currentpublichealth.com to learn more.
You guys know that I'm not a really big fan of Halloween, but can we at least admit that at the end of the night, it's really about a risque evening of ladies wearing kitty cats and police uniforms and a dirty nurse, etc., etc. Well, that team is picked up at Casey's Steakhouse because on October 31st, Cassie Biddle is throwing a 1001 night party, which is going to skip the costume party and join them for dinner and a belly dancing show. It's going to be a great night with a 5-course meal, 2 craft cocktails, and photos with the belly dancers who'll be performing on F Street for 3 hours that night.
Yeah.
Tonight, you may not want to miss October 31st, obviously Halloween night, beginning at 6:30 on F Street at KC Steakhouse, longtime sponsors of the Ralph Bailey Show.
Must qualify for enrollment. Results may vary.
Attention! Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers. So don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-399-7272. 800-399-7272. Again, that's 800-399-7272.
You've got your whole life ahead of you, so choose a Medicare plan you can count on. And that's what you get with a Medicare Advantage plan from United Healthcare. With more than 45 years' experience serving its members, United Healthcare has plans with low monthly premiums that fit your life today and as your needs change tomorrow. The Medicare annual enrollment period ends December 7th, so go to uhc.com/Medicare today. United Healthcare Medicare plans. It's Medicare coverage California can count on.
The Charlie Kirk Show, weekdays at 6 p.m. on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. Now, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. The Justice Department is investigating whether leaders in the Black Lives Matter movement defrauded donors who contributed millions of dollars during racial justice protests in 2020. That's according to multiple people familiar with the matter. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says China has agreed to purchase 25 million metric tons of U.S. soybeans annually as part of an agreement reached by its leaders. He said Thursday that China will start by purchasing 12 million metric tons of soybeans from the U.S. between now and January. On Fox Business Network, the secretary said the agreement lasts for 3 years. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 109 points, the Nasdaq dropped 377, the S&P lower by 68. More details at srnnews.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
I'm Bill Robbins. A high school employee has been arrested for allegedly having sex with a student. Bakersfield Police Special Victims Unit answered the call from Del Oro High School of an inappropriate relationship between an employee and a student. They arrested 26-year-old Salvador Fabian on multiple charges, including having an unlawful sexual relationship with a student. Officers say they don't believe there are any more victims. Fabian was booked into the Kern County Jail. A 40-year-old man shot dead in Wasco has been identified, according to the Kern County Coroner's Office. The victim is 40-year-old Hector Manuel Prado Jr. Last week, he was found dead in a field southwest of West Lerdo Highway and Wildwood Road. The cause of death reported as multiple gunshot wounds. I'm Bill Robbins in the KERN newsroom with news every half hour when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Hey everybody, it's that man again, Ralph Bailey for Sangera Subaru. You know, it's time again for Subaru Loves Pet Month. For the past few years, Sangera Subaru has supported the Bakersfield SPCA's efforts to increase adoption during the month of October. Last year, the Bakersfield SPCA had a total of 73 cats and dogs, all adopted. This year's goal, 100 animals adopted. Plus, Wednesday, October 22nd, Subaru celebrates their 7th annual National Make a Dog's Day. We invite all dog enthusiasts to do something special for their furry friends or maybe consider either adopting or fostering a dog. In addition, the SPCA holding a low-cost microchip and vaccination clinic Saturday, October 25th from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. $20 each for a microchip or vaccine. Now is a great time to adopt a pet from the Bakersfield SPCA. Join Sangera Subaru in supporting this worthwhile cause during the Subaru Loves Pet Month. Sangera Subaru, paving the way for a better community.
Friday edition, Clay Travis, Buck Sexton Show. Our good friend Carol Markowitz swings by as we head into the final weekend before the New York City mayor's race. Also, Virginia, New Jersey. We're going to have a lot of information next week on what to expect from the election results. We'll take you into the weekend talking about all that and more on Halloween. Make sure you don't miss it. Clay and Buck, Friday edition.
Live 9 to noon. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. The Armstrong and Getty Show. Weekdays noon to 2 on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180
376-842-KERN. Let's check the board, see what you guys are talking about.
Ralph is definitely not the mush on politics. Take the Mamdani -5 bet. That's from JD.
Oh, clearly. I thought I wrote it down, the numbers on my board, on my rundown, but apparently I did not, and that blows me away. But yeah, there was a new poll that came out that had him at one point at, I really can't believe I didn't write that down. Had him at, with a 26-point lead. And then there was another poll that had him at a 16-point lead. Meantime, Curtis Sliwa refuses to get out. He's a Republican who's polling at 11%. He has no chance of ever being the mayor of New York. And yet he still runs around with his beret on, insisting that he's going to win, which is clinically insane. Cannot believe I didn't write that down. But yeah, the most recent poll does not bode well for Ms. Goldner. And like I said, we'll start with the truffles. And then I had the chicken breast, stuffed chicken breast Wednesday. I was at Luigi's Wednesday. But I think I'm going to get her on a Tuesday. Because I think Tuesday is prime rib sandwich day. Ooh. And that is just ridiculous. It is just ridiculous. God, it's so good. 842-537-6840. You got somebody?
We do, yes. Sean is on the line for you.
Sean, you're on the Ralph Bailey Show.
How you doing, Ralph?
Good, Sean. How are you?
Excellent. Question. What are your thoughts on the Trump and Xi Jinping meeting and the new federal investigation of the misappropriation of funds for the Black Lives Matter?
Well, I don't know much about the latter, to be honest with you. And if you want to, you can go to YouTube tonight and listen to the top of the show where I talked about the Xi meeting. I think it went well. The New York Times kind of shaded towards Xi, thinking that Xi walked away the victor. But, you know, the tariffs have been lowered from 57% to 47%. Soybean farmers are now going to have a new client in China. Last year, Chinese spent $13 billion on soybeans, and up till now, they've been a complete boycott. So that was a tremendous success. There is going to be a 1-year new restrictions on exports of rare earth minerals, and she has promised to stop the fentanyl flow. Now, whether or not she keeps his word, we'll just have to wait and see. I think he will. I think he wants a decent relationship with us, if for no other reason, to kind of put us at ease. You know, that's an old gangster trick. You know, if Chris and I are mob bosses and I'm in a feud with Chris, I want him to feel relaxed. It's straight out of The Godfather. You want him relaxed. You want him thinking that you're good friends, and that's when you whack him. And that could be Xi's modus operandi, because we know for a fact, and I hope the president knows this, that they don't want us to succeed. They want to be the global dominant country in the world. And let me tell you something, building 74% of the ships and having the components that we need for telephones, televisions, and most importantly, our weapons systems. Like, what happens if China just says, you know what? No more rare earth minerals for you guys. Phones, your iPhone 17, 18, 19, 20, whatever the hell it was, all of a sudden is $1,000, $1,500. You know, they have us by the short hairs, to be crude about it. And this moves it a little forward, but they're still, I don't think they're the dominant nation in the world, but they're in a really good position. They're in a really good position. The only good news is their economy is horrible, but it's a dictatorship, so it doesn't matter. Just like Russia's economy is in the tank, doesn't matter because nobody's going to speak out against it. But I think this was a tremendous success for Trump, but you're not going to hear that from the media. You're just not.
Wow.
Yeah, it's too bad.
Wow. Yeah.
All right, man.
Well, thank you.
All right, thanks for the call. I always want to warn Sean, dude, I don't know anything more than you do. All you got to do is read a little more, and I don't have like some secret knowledge. It's just paying attention to what's going on and making up your own mind. I want all my listeners, don't rely on me. I just provide the information, and then, yeah, I give a little what I think, but I don't know. I would, let me put it this way, and I know this is self-defeating, but I would never listen to me. I mean, I would listen to my show, but I would never like, oh, Ralph says this, so I'm going to believe that. No.
Always look it up for yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
And since you brought up the Bob real quick, just because I thought this story was funny, I'm going to
The
talk
what?
about it on EBS tomorrow morning.
The what?
Guess who, Chauncey Billups has hired as his attorney to battle all of this stuff going on right now with the mob and the poker and
Well,
whatnot.
if he's smart, Abby Lowell or I don't know, who do you hire?
One Mr. Rudy Giuliani.
Oh my God. Really?
Really? So The
That's-
Athletic is reporting right now
That's bizarre.
that Chauncey Billups has hired Trump's former associate, Rudy Giuliani.
Well, you know, 10, 15 years ago, that'd have been a brilliant
Right.
idea. But Rudy has lost it. Do I need to go over some of the crazy things Rudy's going on? Like, he's still fighting the two Atlanta women that he defamed and claimed that they were dupes for election rigging, which wasn't even the zip code of being true. Then they won a judgment against him where they're still fighting to get his apartment and cars and all this nonsense. And remember the situation, I don't know where he was, but he was at an event and some guy came up and talked to him and patted him on the back, and Rudy pretended as if the guy had slapped him and damn near knocked him down. That's one of the most bizarre things I've ever heard. That is just absolutely insane. 842-5376, 842-KERN. What else you got?
Let's see. In our Constitution, it says that the government cannot be shut down more than 5 days without congressional approval.
Well, apparently that ain't truth, because we're in the second longest shutdown, the longest being 35 days. And again, let me repeat, for whatever reason, maybe because I just think they can't possibly be this stupid, but I think the end is near. I think after Tuesday's elections, these guys will come together.
Okay, so Randy has helped me chime in on this a little bit and tie myself up. It is not Giuliani directly. It is somebody who has worked with Giuliani in the law, which is Mark Mukasey?
I don't know. That makes more sense, though.
That's what I said, too.
Because Rudy couldn't even make a closing argument.
Somebody just sent it to me, and I said, really? Giuliani? That's a weird way to put that, but okay.
Yeah, there are a whole lot of better attorneys. Chauncey Billups is in trouble.
Oh, yeah, he is.
When it first broke, I was telling you guys that I didn't think that he was involved in this, but I've been listening to some folks who are saying he's been involved with this for years. There is, and I don't know if I sent you the audio because it's kind of long. I think I have it on my phone, but there is a audio of a professional poker player, and this is 5-6 years ago, who talked about the games that Chauncey Billups was in. And maybe I can pull it up real quick. And he was saying that a buddy of his was saying, oh, no, I know Chauncey, and these things are 100% legitimate. And the guy was like, dude, I'm a professional poker player, and I can tell you categorically that they're not.
Yeah, McAfee had a poker player on that said the same thing, and that a lot of these guys that go in know that they're actually rigged games.
Yeah.
Which is weird to me, because, I mean, you've said it on the show multiple times. Why would you participate in a game you know you're going to lose? That doesn't make any sense.
Here, listen to this. Hang on, it's on Instagram. Oh, Lord. It may not come
We're working on it here.
Oh, no, I can't pull it up.
Uh-oh.
God dang it. I don't know why when I send stuff to from Instagram, I can't call it up. I'm going to send it to you and maybe
Yeah,
you can
feel
play
free
it.
to send it to me. I can email it to myself. real
Yeah,
quick.
let me see if I can. Hang on. Did you get it?
I did. Give me 1 sec.
Yeah, hang on a second. We're going to play this for you. This is a professional poker player, and this is data. I don't know when the exact date is, but this wasn't in wake of the arrest. This was years ago, this guy. And I don't even know, is his name on the thing? I don't even know if his name.
Give me 1 sec. I'll be able to tell you.
No, it just says pro poker player. It does have a date. This was 2019. This was 6 years ago. And I didn't see it. I really didn't. I thought Billups was a straight up guy and just maybe got caught in the wrong people and they were using him to bring in high rollers. But no, according to this guy, again, we don't know his name, but he's a professional poker player. This is from 2019.
It says his name is Matt Berkeley.
Matt
Must have been like 5 years ago,
2019,
I think, where there was this game. It started in LA and then it came to Vegas for a few days, and it was all built around Chauncey Billups. And the person who told me about it was like, "Look, I know the game runners. I'm telling you 100% this game is on the up and up." And I was like, "Well, I know a lot of the people that are involved, and I'm telling you 100% that it is not." I had some friends who went and played it both in LA and in Vegas, and it obviously was for sure confirmed to be cheated.
Mm-hmm.
Like people who clearly didn't even understand the rules of no limit hold'em are just like jamming hundreds of big blinds in with like a gutty and then just drilling it. Only the pros are losing. It was basically confirmed amongst all of the pros that the game was cheated, but there's just no recourse.
Gotcha.
And they got absolutely flayed. Well, it's tough too whenever you're dealing with somebody like high profile like that because they carry a lot of weight and hold a lot of power. So all you can do is like kind of unite together and threaten to publicly out him or extort him in some sort of capacity. In which case, good luck.
Yeah.
This is the same guy that went on McAfee and said the same thing, by the way. Yeah.
You know what a gutty is?
No, I don't know the terminology very well.
It's a gut shot straight where you have 2, 3, and 5, 6, 7 comes up on the flop. And you need a 4. And he's saying, like a lot of guys, I'm stupid enough to try to hit a gut shot straight every now and again.
Yeah, but it's a 1 in 4 chance if it pops up.
It's worse than that.
Actually, no, I'm sorry. You're right. It's
much worse than that. It's worse than that. And what he's saying is there were amateur players that were shoving in money trying to hit a gut shot straight, which is not impossible, but ridiculously unlikely. And they'd win. They'd win every time they were going. And when you see that happen like 2 or 3 times in 2 or 3 hours, that Chris Burdick playing with Chauncey Billups and pro players is shoving in tons of money for a gut shot straight, and he hits it every time he shoves in money, you're like, there's luck, and then there's luck, and then there's hanky-panky. And it's pretty obvious to spot. And he was saying the Chris Burdicks and the amateurs were winning while the pros were getting filleted. That just doesn't happen. There's a big discrepancy in poker talent. And it's like it would be like a really good amateur at BCC who's like a 2 handicap trying to play a pro. It's like a 2 handicap is an incredibly good golfer. Sam Brandon is like a 4, and the kid hits 300-yard drives. He shot a 71 recently. But if he played somebody on the Korn Ferry Tour, they'd kick his ass by 3 or 4 strokes. So you see what I'm talking about? There's a huge discrepancy between good amateurs and pros at every level. And particularly at poker, there's a gargantuan difference between the guy that's really good in his garage and at family games and etc., and guys that do it for a living 8, 10, 12 hours a day, every day. And when those guys that do it in their garage and go to Vegas every now and again beat the guys that do it
12, 16 hours a day, you know something ain't right. Some ain't right. Let's go ahead and take our final break of the day.
You know what's really crazy though about all this? That video we just played was from 2 years ago, which means all of this was common knowledge.
No, it says 2019 on my
The
deal.
story he's talking about is from 2019, but the video we played is from 2023.
Oh, okay.
Which means people have been knowing about this for
years.
6 years.
Yeah.
And done nothing.
Billups
That's
is going
going to be
jail.
damning to the NBA.
Billups and Rozier. Then I heard Rozier owed he had a tax lien a couple years ago and owes the government like $8 million. So that answers our question. Why would a guy making 14, 15, 20 million dollars get involved with this? Because he was broke. He was broke. Making $26 million a year, and he was broke.
You know, the NBA PA is trying to like get it so that he can still make money even during the suspension.
He's going to prison.
That is absolutely bizarre.
He's going to prison. He and Billups. They're going to prison. And he ain't never, Terry Rozier will never play basketball again in an arena. Never again. Final time out of the day. Keep it locked. The Charlie Kirk Show at the top of the hour. Tomorrow is a Friday. Rick Bentley, Brandon Lang, and we're efforting an interview, and I'm pretty sure we'll land it with Jay Tamsey, the head of the Kern Hispanic Chamber. The Dia de los Muertos is coming up Sunday, so we'll talk to my neighbor, I'm sure. In the meantime, you're listening to The Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KRN. We're streaming live at KernRadio.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
When your business technology breaks down, you need help fast, and you need it from the people who understand your local market. That's one of the main reasons we've teamed up with Adaptive Network. Huh?
No, I was going to say, you want to do your promo?
Yeah. What is this?
It was for that big old blow up thing that they brought JR today. Or not blow up, but did you not see him walk out with the big old, the lady who does the family magazine that he was on the cover of gave him like a big old poster version of it, I guess.
Was she in love with him or something? What the... She's a nice woman, though.
I did make that joke to him, though. It was like, you realize this woman's like in love with you now, right? Like she is all about it. No, she's just really nice to him now. So I was just joking with him. It's like, this woman's in love with you, apparently.
That's what I said. I'm like, what the hell?
No, I think she was just trying to do a nice thing.
Yeah, no, she's real. I've known her for years. She's a really nice woman. All right, what the hell are we doing today? I know. Excuse me. 3, 2. So Judge Brownlee, 3, 2. So Judge John Brownlee, a listener to the broadcast and a good friend of the show, has determined that Ray Mata and Graciela Bustamante will go to trial. And again, in the preliminary hearing, we learned the coroner stated that the torture and abuse on little Grit, what's her fuck, Genesis? 3, 2. So Judge John Brownlee, a friend of the broadcast who listens occasionally, determined that Graciela Bustamante and Ray Mata Jr. will stand trial for the death of Genesis Mata. And we learned during the preliminary hearing that the coroner stated that the abuse and torture on her body was so bad, they could not determine what the fatal wound was. Again, shame on the Department of Health and Human Services. That's not what it's called, is it? DHS, Department of Human Services.
Yeah, let's redo the end of that one.
Yeah. You want me to just do the... I'll do
just shame on the Department of Human Services.
3, 2. Shame on the Department of Human Services.
Beautiful.
You ready?
Yeah.
3, 2. It's that man again. Look what's coming up on the Friday TRBS. Well, it's a Friday, so Rick Bentley from KGT will join us. Our handicapper, Brandon Lang. And I'm pretty certain I'm going to talk my neighbor, Jay Tamsey, to talk about Dia de los Muertos on Sunday. All that, me at 3, TRBS, News Talk 96.1, AM 1180, KERN. I'll see you at 3.
ETHOS. Ethos.com/Mike.
Must qualify for enrollment. Results may vary.
Attention! Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers, so don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-399-7272. 800-399-7272. Again, that's 800-399-7272.
The Clay Travis and Buck Sexton Show, live 9 to noon. Now, back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Ohio. OHIO. Don't know how to spell. Let's read a text message and get the Sam Hill out of here.
Republicans can only open up the government with a simple majority. They have 53 votes, including the VP vote. It's called the nuclear option. They will own their budget, which includes defunding subsidies for healthcare, aka ACA.
Well, I'm not talking about the Republicans opening the government. That's on the Democrats. But there is SNAP money available. There's emergency SNAP money available. It's a short term. If you heard our audio earlier with Jake Tapper bringing this point up with one of the Democratic Congress members, it's a short gap fix. It would give SNAP benefits for the next 2 or 3 weeks, but we're still at a deadline where people aren't going to get food. And now food banks are going crazy. Here's Cap K is getting ready to be inundated. The deadline is Saturday. Again, call me crazy. I just have to believe that grown-ass men that know what the ramifications are going to somehow come together tomorrow. But again, I think the reality is they're going to wait until after the Tuesday elections and then decide to come together and do something. Let's pray I'm wrong. Let's pray these guys get together and help out our military, our TSA people, our air traffic controllers, the poor, the elderly. It's about as stupid a thing as I have ever seen in my life. I got to go home. Thanks for bearing with me today. I had a difficult day, and I appreciate you all. For Chris Burdick, I'm Ralph Bailey. That's what's really going on. I'll wrap to you tomorrow.
This is AM 1180 KERN, Green Acres. This is 96.1 FM, Bakersfield. Online at KERNradio.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. The government shutdown is creating a crisis at air traffic control centers across the nation. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy says the length of the shutdown is making it hard for air traffic controllers and technicians that nurse the outdated equipment to even afford to come to work.
A lot of our people can go through the midst of one paycheck. It's hard for them, but a lot of them can get through it. None of them can get through 2 paychecks. And so, again, if Democrats don't get their act together very quickly, you're going to see huge problems. And again, I would come to them with